Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know if you can hear me. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I can hear myself a little better. Welcome to the inaugural Agent Ong Open, squad number 1. As practice is coming to an end. Appreciate all of those who are tuning in early to kick off squad 1. The voice you hear now is Theo Duthay. He is the tournament director here at the Agent Ong Open. Of course, Carl and Kathy Ong, the creators of this event.
One spot on your pair. That way it is easy for me to find your scores and update scores quickly and efficiently. If you do not have the best handwriting, please have somebody that knows how to write clearly. Write them down so that I get the correct scores entered.
How about now?
Good luck. If you are on the left lane, it does not matter if you are A or B. Even on the score sheet, it'll say 1 and 2, but I don't care. Pick your letter.
Okay, there we go. That's a good lesson in when your kids help you pack your equipment. They press buttons. Again, good morning and good afternoon to some of you who may be watching already Eastern time, late morning, Central time zone. My name is Emil Williams Jr., courtesy of Bowl Stream TV. We appreciate you tuning in to the, again, first squad. This is squad number 1 of the inaugural Agent Ong Open. Big thanks to Carl and Kathy Ong, the creators. Of course, they've got they put everything into this event. Guaranteed $10,000 to the winner. We got a long way to go before we get there. We'll find out a champion, of course, on Sunday. But we got plenty of squads. 8 squads, a Desperado squad. We'll have some cool side events as well. Sweep the Rack Sweeper tonight. Big action match tonight as well, featuring Robert Smith. That's the Robert Smith, 7-time PBA champion, U.S. Open champion Robert Smith versus multi-time PBA regional champion and big-time dude, Gregory Thompson Jr. That is tonight. So it'll be a late evening, but should be a very fun evening. But in front of us, 6 games as we kick off this Agent Ong Open. Wesley Lowe Jr., Zach Schroeder, Sean Finch on 9 and 10. Matt Zweig is on 11 and 12 with the early 3, 6, 9, 10 make. Josh Williams also on that pair, along with Dave Cirgliano. Players will be moving, or I should say pairs will be moving, yeah, we'll say players. Players will be moving 1 pair to their left if they start on the left lane, and then those on the right lane will be moving 1 pair to the right. And we'll also welcome in this morning, in a second, we will hear from the one and only Chris Schlimmer in a little bit. And speaking of Chris.
Oh, there we go. I can actually hear you now.
There he is.
Sweet. Can you hear me?
One more time.
How about now? Can you hear me now?
There we go.
Check, baby, 1, 2.
Chris Schlimmer in the booth.
Good morning, everyone. From blissfully warm Phoenix, AZ. Where fall is currently 102 degrees the last few days.
It took me up until the last minute to look at the forecast for the week,
Yes, sir.
and I was like, oh, still 10, 101, 102.
I did that as well. When I was packing the other night, the night before, I had pulled up the weather forecast, and I texted Carl immediately, and I said, dude, do you guys not believe in fall here in Arizona? Like, it was 102 on Wednesday, and then it was like 101 yesterday. So, but yeah, no, we got some good action here. The pattern, like Carl and I were just talking this morning, I think you're gonna make some shots. I mean, it's definitely not gonna be a cakewalk. You're always gonna have a tournament leader, and but I think just what I've seen so far, because there's some pretty good bowlers here on this first squad. I think the key to this event is going to be the carry. And I don't know if you've talked about that yet.
Not yet. Go right ahead.
I mean, there's some, and I think that holds true with any bowling center. You find the characteristics of what's in play and what's not in play. And I know there was a lot of Avalon being used in practice. So,
You think that's good, bad, and different at the moment, but since you mentioned that, let's discuss the lane condition. Let's get Zach Schroeder's shot in first.
okay.
And then I'm going to throw the lane pattern on the screen. It's a little wide, so it's going to take up the screen from that vantage point. Let's take a look at it.
Nice pitch there. Yeah, so, Carl and I talked about it. So, yeah, 42 feet, it's basically 34 mils, 34 plus mils on the flatter side. So, utilizing surfaces when you get into a pattern like this does make sense, but then it's also knowing what transition is going to happen. And for the most part, it looks to be most folks that were, breaking them down with surface because they don't have the rev rate. Because again, I mean, you look at there's only a handful of, actually, I shouldn't say a handful, a couple two-handers this morning. So you don't have the rev rates to help tear it apart. So you've got to kind of build something and then be able to chase in off of it. But again, I've never actually been to this bowling center. This is my first time. And, watching where some folks are trying to attack it, like Matthew over here. I mean, obviously he's playing off the gutter, and that was a tickle 2-4-8-10 first strike. But then in the same token, then you go to the couple pairs next to him that the guys are already 15, 17, getting it to 10. So I think that's also going to make it interesting too. Now that people are attacking it different ways. So that means when you cross, because the left lanes are going left and the right lanes are going right. So it's going to cause some chaos. I have a feeling, and like Carl and I talked this morning, he goes, here's the deal. I didn't want to make it stonewalled, and I didn't want to make him so brutal. He goes, I want to make it to where whoever wins earns the 10 grand, So, so yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see, because every round's going to be fresh. So I think there's going to be plans of attack. People are going to bowl a couple times that, hey, if I'm on these lanes, I got to do this, and if I'm on these lanes, I got to do that, because you're going to see, and just looking at the lane surface, the install and the panels, you can see some different stuff. At least I can, and I'm sure some of these bowlers can as well. That is going to also factor into how certain pairs play. You got to factor in topography and surface friction and all that fun stuff.
Appreciate everybody tuning in. As you enter the broadcast, please smash that thumbs up, like this video, subscribe if you have not already to Bowlstream TV. Again, we'll have every minute, essentially, of this week into the weekend covered for you until we crown a champion. And the Agent On Championship belt will be awarded as well. And,
yes. How cool is that belt?
I got to
We
tell
saw
you,
it last night. the picture, like you said, the same thing. You said the same thing when you first saw it as I did. And Carl's like, hey, dude, check this out. And I'm like, bro, that's way bigger than what you made it out to be in the photos. He's like, I know, right? I'm like, whew. It's a big strap.
Not only is it's big, but it's heavy.
Yes. What is it, 15 pounds, I think he said?
Yes.
Something like that. So that's kind of a cool concept. Because Carl and I, we're friends. We go way back, and it's one of those things. He's a big wrestling nut, as I am. We go in spurts. Like if you don't watch it for a while, it's like you still come back and you pick it up, and then we start talking about wrestling. And there's a couple of years where we talked about going to WrestleMania and doing different things. We never made it, but
Still time.
there's still plenty of time. but anyway, yeah. So it was one of those deals of he was talking about the trophy and what to do. He's like, dude, I want to make it, and then all of a sudden he's like, dude, I figured it out. He goes, I just spent like 3 hours on the computer with the design team and da-da-da-da. And I'm like, you seriously designed a title belt? He goes, yes, I did. I'm like, my guy. Wesley Lowe with a pretty good look right there.
Indeed. There's championship belt. Of course, left side of your screen if you hadn't seen it.
Mm-hmm. And it's big. I have a feeling it's like bigger than a WWE belt because like I put it on my shoulder and like it hangs off my shoulder.
That's
and
big for you.
I got pretty big shoulders, so I'm like, huh. So many small ones at like Wesley Lowe. It's gonna be ginormous.
It may not fit him.
Exactly. You have to get. Hey, is there a kids version? You get the reduced size. But yeah, no. I mean, like we're talking about. Well, Zach Zerger, exactly what we watched a shot here earlier. My man's got 7-1 and then backed it up with a 5-bagger, and that is the only bagger currently. Oh, down on lane 3. There's spare hole 4-bagger, and somebody went. Who's on the right lane? Double split 3-bagger. So, there's some folks kind of figuring it out a little bit.
Good shot.
Pretty good right there. I think it's one of those deals. Get the wood while you can, and.
You see where Zach is. You see where Matt is. Matt's a little further right than Zach.
He actually just moved a little left.
I missed that. Sorry.
Yeah. So because he was playing closer to the gutter, and obviously he just cheated, like he, almost like a 3 and 2 left off of what he had going there before. So yeah, no, like I said, everybody's kind of attacking it a little bit different.
Is that an interesting game already? Matt, right? Made it 3-6-9-10 early. Double had that carry of the 2-8-10 strike.
Yep.
Gutter spare.
Yep. And that's what I was saying. Off the gutter spare, he made the little kind of almost like a parallel, just an inched left off of because he was trying to play like 2. That was a pretty good conversion right there.
Nice shot there by Mr. Finch. Washouts and, of course, spares in general, but those are going to be very imperative as obviously not only this squad, but as the tournament rolls on. And important to note, very early, the 2 p.m. squad, by the way, folks, also got a few names in it. Someone asked that question here early, and I'll get to the chat in just 1 second, but we talked about Matt Zweig, obviously, Zach Schroeder, Josh Williams. We've got Chad Luke. We've got Chris Mays, great young player, and his brother Hunter. I don't see Hunter, but Chris is bowling down on 3 and 4.
Yep.
Brandy Wolf.
Yep.
Oh, I'm sorry. Brandy Calvin.
Yep. Yeah, I meant what you knew. It's all right there.
But everyone else may not have known.
Yeah, no, and
Keith Dahmer is bowling.
And yeah, we got some more. I mean, obviously, you got some bigger names still to come in the coming days. Chad with the conversion of this 6-7-10. It's a pretty good cover right there. You got some big name. Well, Robert Smith is here to hang out and bowl. And obviously, him and Greg Thompson's have that. They got the challenge match tonight. Was it $1 a game or something? I think they're bowling for something like that.
Yeah, I think you just need to
add
add
a pack of Bowlicious.
Yeah, add 3 zeros to that.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I forgot the zeros. I forgot. I'm not good with decimal points. I think that's the deal. So, but yeah, no, we'll see who. I mean, and again, that's one of those things about this tournament. Some walk-ins, because there's. So I'm not going to say exactly who, but obviously there's some people I've been with the last couple of weeks that, it's on their radar, so they may pop in and bowl. So, yeah, we'll see how it all shakes out here in the next couple of days.
Yeah, there are multiple opportunities to compete. So if you're watching this or know someone and who's maybe giving it some thought, or you said, hey, man, I didn't know this tournament was going on. There are, we got the 2 o'clock today. A great shot again by Matt. 2 o'clock after this, and that'll conclude qualifying squads for today. And there is some side events, though. A little carry there for Wesley Lowe Jr. A couple of side events. If you don't want to bowl a qualifying squad, but you want to see what the pattern is like, you can bowl in the Sweep the Rack Sweeper tonight. That's at 8 o'clock Phoenix time.
Okay.
That would be 3 games on the lane condition.
Perfect. Okay.
It's a good entryway if you say, all right, I missed the squads early today, or you know what, let me look at the pattern and see what it's like. Maybe I can go drill something else if I need to.
There you go. And, you know, and that's one of those things that, you know, Carl and I have I've been kind of part of I don't know, a bounce board, if you will. Carl had different ideas and stuff, and, you know, different tournaments and stuff like that. And you know, we talked about it, and the fact of when you have a multiple entry event like this, yeah, so you got it up the lane just a pinch too quick. Oh, trips it. So down to an 8 count. So we need a score correction there. Wesley's got it. When you have, because like we talked about, we're highlighting the better players. But again, this is open to anybody who wants to come bowl, and you get pins based on, you know, what your average is, and obviously the old guys get pins too. You know, so it's, or girls, you know, the senior category. But it's a deal of, in reference to like TATs and some other stuff where, you know, like there's got VIP events and stuff like that, to where you bowl in a pattern, you got some chance. It's not part of the actual qualifying for the finals, but you kind of get to see the pattern, exactly it, and you got to have that. You know, just for the, it helps those that are here, and you know, because again, there'll be some people that bowl a couple times and maybe just don't quite figure it out, because again, we talked about the pattern, but then you also have to factor in, like we mentioned earlier, the amount of Aberlin pads and stuff like that, the way lanes are going to transition, and it's who you're crossing with and what your cross is, and all this other thing, all these other variables come into it. So yeah, it's definitely a cool learning experience for quite a few folks. So yeah, it'll be fun to watch to see us all shake out.
Hello to Gary Bear 300. I see KJ is in the chat. Dylan Taylor. I assume that's Dylan Taylor. Scooby. Shout out to CP, Chris Pulliam. Michelle Carey. I ain't seen you in a minute, Michelle. Good to see you. Appreciate you. Marlon Brown. Marlon's going to be bowling a few squads this week.
Sweet. Oh, yeah. Oh, and I don't know if you mentioned the one earlier. You saw the PWBA Rookie of the Year share the ball.
Oh, right. I didn't. Yes.
Hope Gramley.
Yeah,
I'm like, hey, what are you doing here? She's like, I'm here to bowl.
Right.
Well, she goes, I'm bowling it too. I'm like, all right, sweet. So yeah, there's another one you throw in the mix.
Yes.
So again, you don't know who, we don't know exactly who all is going to pop in. So yeah, we're just going to kind of roll with it and see. But anyway, yeah, just that one just dawned on me because she was just telling me about her trip to Costa Rica. You know, she was part of the crew that, you know, her and a bunch of different folks went like this past week and bowled that Costa Rica event. So
I heard a lot of great things about Costa Rica and that event just over the years as we watch Schroeder in the 10th frame. There it is.
Okay, perfect. So now I can announce it. So my boy, I was with him last week. You guys probably heard of that guy, Anthony Simonson. He came up to Storm for some stuff, and last week to Utah. Anyway, we talked about it. So yeah, he is confirmed he's going to come in this weekend. He said he was. He goes, hey, you're going to be there, right? And I said, yeah. He goes, okay. And he goes, I'll yeah. And my boy, he goes, I'll probably be there. He goes, probably yes or probably no. He goes, yeah, probably yes. I'm like, okay. So, but Carl's got just got word from our boy Simo. So yeah, we'll have, you know, and again, I talk about talented player. And you know, Simon and I talked about it, you know, as well. I mean, he goes, this is kind of I was looking at the format. He goes, kind of a cool event. I said, yeah, man. I said, it's one of those things that, I said, just because you're going to bowl, it doesn't mean you're going to win. He goes, I want to win. He goes, but you're right. That doesn't mean I'm going to win. Because, you know, like we talked about with the different bowlers and stuff last night, it's one of those things that anybody could be beaten on any given day. And when you bring all these variables together, it's up for grabs. So,
yeah, it is a very unique event format, and we'll get into that as we get into game number 2 here in a moment. Of course, unfortunately, as you just saw, Zach did punch one in the channel.
I was going to say that did a little channel surfing there.
That's 2 we've seen, so that obviously lets us know that the pattern, I think, itself and the volume would acknowledge perhaps that we could see that from time to time. But the way some of the players have started, especially those playing a little further right, you get it right, that could be a possibility of a channel situation.
Correct.
And the Calderon going to be in the 2 teams.
Yeah. As I say, looking down at that first pair, it looks like we got there's 184 on the board, 198 on the board. Yeah, you got the whole gamut of scores here. Anywhere from 120 to looking like 240.
Yeah, it's you can see a few different things, but again, game 1, squad 1.
Yes.
I
Facts.
think for me, right off the bat, and we released the pattern details. Then had like a small live stream, talk about that last Thursday. And we posted the details on the screen. We'll do that throughout the broadcast, of course. 42 feet, 34.5 mils. The one thing that stands out to me immediately was I'm seeing more friction than I think I anticipated seeing.
And like I said, I think
there's something there.
That comes into the lane surface itself. Because again, that's a variable that we always have to account for once you get to the this level of bowling, and when we start talking about patterns, it's not just a house shot, So, there's, like I said, the variables of the different types of lane surface, the amount of friction in that surface, topography, and that's another thing too. Like I mentioned, just in the few shots, as soon as I walked in and saw the practice and stuff like that, and yeah, you can see that there's something to do with surface friction and topography in this building. So that's going to be a variable throughout the weekend.
Josh Williams, 235.
Pretty good start.
11 and 12, and he should be moving to 9 and 10, so we'll kind of keep an eye on his progress. In fact,
yeah, right lane's going right, left lane's going left.
We might see Josh 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll keep an eye on him really almost the entire block.
Okay.
Just because of the way the skips are for this squad, it could be a little different as the squads increase in size as the tournament and the days go on. Early apologies. I have.
What'd you do?
All I can say is #KidGerms. Most of you know who follow me have 2 wonderful children, and they have been under the weather for about 3 weeks. And finally getting back to themselves. Well, of course, kid germs tend to spread to parents. And so I am a little congested.
I was going to say, I was going to mention that when I saw you last night, and I'm like, oh man, because we were just together a couple weeks ago.
I was all right.
And yeah, it happens. Kid germs, exactly it.
So if you pop it on Bowlstream TV and you hear a voice that's clearly Roto Shalim, and then you go, man, I don't know who that other guy is. I don't know. It is me.
It is.
I got the congestion nasally thing. Shout out to my man Mike Flanagan, who went through the same thing last week at the Nightmare Doubles. Literally the exact situation.
Okay.
I could hear he was talking about it. And I'm like,
what you need? You need to get one of those cool filters like some of the musicians have, so you can really change your voice, like on the microphone. Or maybe go with like a Darth Vader, voice conversion thing.
That'd be interesting.
That'd be kind of cool.
There's a Barry White story. I'll get into that a little bit later.
Oh, wow. Okay. I can't wait to hear that one.
Shout out to Ramon Delgado. Hope you and Brenda are well, Ramon. Kevin, sounds like you're bowling the sweeper tonight. We look forward to seeing you. And Ed, absolutely. Good morning. First, good morning, Ed. And then absolutely congrats to Carl and Kathy on an amazing event. I've had a chance, and certainly you too, Roto Schlim, chance to be around tournament directors, tournaments in general. And, when events, when people go to take the trouble to create a tournament.
Yes.
And everything that goes into that.
Absolutely.
It's a lot of work.
It's been these guys, Carl and Kathy, it's been a lot of hours and a lot of legwork, and especially when you look at all the sponsors. I think that's the thing that speaks volumes when you get into the variety of sponsors, from just looking at the different signs here posted, from we've got Unwind Wellness Redefined, and Mark Powell, and WeSpeakWifi, and Brightside Catering, and all these Ramsey, I Am Bowling, Burke Brothers, Bowling Dynamics. You know what I'm saying? And the list goes on and on. And we'll touch on them over the course of these 4 days. But that circles back to Carl's previous life, even though he still does it as far as promotions. And so he was able to secure all these different sponsors outside of himself. And that speaks volumes whenever you get, people understand, like, hey, I'm having this tournament. And they're like, oh, yeah, bowlers? And we met a couple of sponsors that popped in last night, and they were asking questions. They were like, so tell me more about this bowl. They're just excited to be a part of it. So that's the cool thing, too, when you get into events like this. So, but, yeah, we'll watch as we move into the next pair. And like we said, folks, the left lanes are moving left. The right lanes are moving right. So Matthew Zweig here moves to the pair left, changes balls, staying in the same zone. Looks to be pretty good. He gives himself a pat on the back. So obviously that was whether it was scoping it from before or, this maybe a ball change that you should have made maybe the first game kind of thing. Wesley, walking off, shaking his head like, well, only Wesley can do. Doesn't matter how good he throws it. He's like, oh, I didn't throw it. One of those kind of guys. So.
All right, looks like I'll mention every single sponsor too here in just a second.
All good.
It does look like we have our first standings update.
There we go.
Courtesy of Theo Duthay. I'm going to drop that in the chat for you folks, and we'll have that pinned throughout each squad. So here we go there. That is squad 1 scores for you. Let's pin that to the top.
Pin it to the top, pin it to the bottom. I don't know. He's pinning something somewhere. Pin the tail on the donkey. We got it.
Appreciate Theo. I look. Oh, wow, how about that, huh?
So obviously, going with Matt, obviously you're paying attention here. So he went different ball in the right lane. So maybe he knows something about this pair or saw something as practice in the first game was unraveling. So he's using a different ball in each lane. So that's something to pay attention to. That, is that going to be a theme or a trend that other players maybe start to figure out as well?
I'm going to ask you a question here in a second about what you just talked about.
Okay.
First, let me get the score update. We talked about and saw Zach Schroeder. He is in the lead, 245 to start. Josh Williams, of course, second, 235. Wesley Lowe, 216. He's third. Brandy Calderon, fourth at 215. Chad Luch, who we are watching now as well, 211. Troy Blickenstaff, sixth at 208. Aaron Carabell, 202. Shout out to Ramon's homie there, Aaron. Sean Grant and Bob Wiley, both with 198, and Dave Sirigliano at 191. Pretty good scoring pace overall for the first game.
Yeah. Yeah, especially like we talked about, what's going to have to, with that length of pattern and that volume, and how it's going to transition. So, getting it while you can through game one. Now you're going to the next pair. And it looks to be, let's see, we got a double there. One double, two doubles, three doubles. That's it. So the entire squad, there's only 3 doubles now that we've made the transition to flip pairs. So it changes the complexity of everything,
Right, so to the point that you just talked about in regards to Matt Zweig, throwing a couple of different balls, one on each lane.
Yep.
Which
and he's sticking to it too. He's got so he's throwing Exponent on the right lane. He's throwing Eternity Pie on the left. So
in our day, or in our current state, I should say, of our sport, that's way more common than maybe it used to be.
Yes,
but why do you think that is?
I think it's a number of reasons, and the main thing I've touched upon a few times is coming back to the reason, in my position of being a Rotogrip brand manager and creating bowling balls, is I like to refer to it as the lane it's 60 feet, it's 39 inches wide, it's 60 feet long, and it's a one big puzzle. So when I'm creating bowling balls, those are all puzzle pieces to kind of help piece this puzzle together. But the main thing I always talk about to folks is the fact of lane panels age every day just like we do. And so you got to throw that variable into when you're trying to create bowling balls to do a certain thing, that they've got to get to a certain part of the lane. In the case of the two different balls that Matt's throwing here, the exponent is symmetrical and a little bit different cover than what is actually, as opposed to, they're both solids with Eternity Pie, but that's asymmetric. So it's a strong core and so it's our high-end strong core for global, and then it's our low-end core for global. And they're both solid cover stocks, but obviously you put surface on both of them, I can see. So yeah, they're going to see the lane a little bit different where they pick up. So the asymmetric and a tendency to rev earlier because it's a lower RG, bigger engine on the inside, if you will, where maybe he just, like I said, he saw a hook spot when the folks bowling previously, or just knows the center because he's from this area. It's one of those things of just knowing, hey, you need to get the ball to this spot before transition. So that's where you would use a symmetrical on the one lane. So, so I think the other thing, circling back to your initial question of nowadays, and I think the big thing is, like I said, the age of the lane panels, but also, too, as lane maintenance technology is advanced, when you get into lane machines and the types of oils, how they break down, because you got different viscosities of oils. And it's not just, you look at all the companies that make oil. At one point in time, I can remember way back when, and I'm going to date myself and show my age, it was like there was a handful of different kinds of oils available on the market through distribution. This is long before Kegel was a thing. You had a couple of manufacturers that made lane machines, and it was like, each distributor carried, like maybe five different kinds of oils. Now, Kegel themselves have right. like 14 or 16 different kinds of oil. Correct. And now Brunswick's gotten in the game. Brunswick got their whole variety, their Brunswick lane maintenance stuff. I want to say, I think they got 6 or 8 different kinds of oil. And then you got all the other like sub-brands. Those are the two main ones. So if somebody's going to stock them all, well, next thing you know, you're like, there's 20-something different kinds of oil opportunities out there. And then it's based on the lane machines, on being able to layer those and use one oil on the way down and different oil on the way back. It's just these variables, and I think that's what leads to, hey, if I'm going to play in this zone, I need this type of motion. And I think the other part of it, and something else that just popped in my head and you and I touched upon this a few weeks ago when we were in Iowa, I think the education, I think people have taken more to understanding their equipment more and knowing RGs and differentials and cover stocks and right. Layouts, and knowing my ball can do this and do that. When back in the day, we come from a generation of, hey, you had a couple bowling balls and you had to figure out how to make it work. Like it wasn't one of those things where you came back and go, okay, what's the next ball in the bag? Because, again, we've only got a handful of people here, but back here we've got, there's 6 triple totes on the concourse, and down here in front of us there's, 8 or 10 triple totes. And so it's everybody having the variety of bowling balls in their arsenal, if you will. So, but anyway, folks, that's my kind of synopsis from Rochelum's perspective of watching bowling now for over a few decades. A couple decades where I qualify, because I've going back to the ladies tour days way back when. But anyway, as we're watching, like I said, Matt here in front of us, again, he's using the exponent on the right lane. Pretty good pitch, wrap 10. And in comparison, like I mentioned too, so we do have a 3-bagger 7-2. We do have another double. Don't have many doubles this game going. We got, what does it look like? So lane 6, Boulder C. Not quite sure that gentleman's name, but he's got spare strike, spare double. So he's got a pretty solid game going. And that pitch right there, I clouded him. Way to go, Schlem. The man had a good game going, and then he just tosses up a Greek church. So, yep, I'll take full blame for that. Then looks like down on 3 and 4, the top right bowler has open 3-bagger spare strike. So we'll see what he's got down there. And Okay, I'm just going to stop talking because every time I think somebody's got something going on, my man just missed the head pin down there, so that didn't work out so good. So exactly what kind of figured was going to happen is everybody starts as we talked about, the pattern, trying to figure out the pair to start, and now they make the move. Now the lane itself, the oil's starting to transition. It's going to start to move around and do different things. So I think that's going to be the X factor, if you will, as we see transition. And seemingly Wesley's looks like he kind of figured it out because he's got a double spare strike, split strike. So again, got to keep your, it's one of those things when you get these tougher patterns, you're going to have some open frames. You're going to have to manage the pair. You're just going to have to, again, keep your mistakes to a minimum. And again, it's squad 1. So there's, and we got an afternoon squad, and then we got more squads each in the next couple days. So we're going to see some, probably different planes attacking. And I know, Emil, you brought it up of, some of these folks, they actually go, you know what? I bowled that first squad, and maybe I need to go drill ball. And that's a thing when you think about events like this, and I know not everybody thinks that way, but if you're going to compete for, in this case, $10,000, is it worth a couple $100s to try and get a better opportunity to that 10 grand? I think so. So I think it's, which is a common thing for plenty of bowlers. A pretty good pitch there on lane 11. Keeping it in play, keeping it clean. We get, we're getting all sort of snap, crackle, pop, like Rice Krispie treats, back and forth in each ear. So is that one of those things, delicate, don't touch it?
Yeah, well, I'm trying to make something happen.
Yeah. Well, I can hop out of here.
No, that's cool.
Put Carl in here.
We need to, I need to make sure it works.
Oh, okay. So now we're going to see if it actually works.
Yes. So
that'll be awesome.
And for any cool audio people, nice shot for Matt's Wide, who know a way or a better way. Right now, the only way I know when you have a mixer and I'm not talking about high level, but you got a mixer and you've got multiple headsets, and obviously I think one way is you can get an amplifier, and then the 1/4-inch jacks plug into the amplifier. Maybe I'll get one of those actually now that I'm talking about it, and see Carl can't hear. Right. So that's how I know that part didn't work.
It sounded like a good idea at the time. So yeah. Anyway, if anyone out there has experience with multiple headsets in a, and again, this is kind of the same setup. We got the same thing like with Storm and stuff like that. So, the mini board, and because when you're plugging in 2 and 3 headsets, and there's always a lot of hoping this connects, and
it's the splitters sometimes
the splitters,
it's
correct.
The splitters that
so
don't get
if there's
sometimes.
I don't know, is there a wireless version? Is that a thing?
He could, but then you run into trouble from them sometimes. But I think the amp.
I know you're a big wire guy. You like to be connected.
Yes, at all times.
Yeah, there's got to be another variation. Again, I'm no DJ or music or headset guy, so I'm gonna roll with what I know. Another open.
I don't have anything. Unfortunately, I cannot hear any of you gentlemen at all.
Or, how about now? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you guys now.
Oh, you can hear?
You can hear?
It's a splitter.
It's a
Splitter
okay.
shorts.
So is there a Radio Shack close?
Well, my wife is here, so we can definitely have her run into the store if we need to.
No.
Well, it's splitters. I mean, my man's got like 5 of them, and that's kind of the just
It's the
connections and splits.
It's always These work perfectly. The ones that actually aren't wired, these are the ones you need, but they don't stack, if that makes sense.
Yes.
But now that we have Carl, congratulations.
Yes, sir.
The Agent On Open is happening in front of you right now. How do you
It
feel?
is definitely happening.
My man's been stressing for some months now. So you guys can see I'm rubbing his back because my man, he's like, dude, I go, bro, it's going to be okay. Just breathe. It's going to be okay.
Well, it's a huge undertaking when you actually have no history and no numbers to go off of, right?
Absolutely. And it's part of the unknown, like we talked about.
Yep.
And Matthew converting the spare there. So, again, he's kind of keeping it in play, keeping the mistakes to a minimum. Down on the low end, I mean, obviously he's touching across the scores here. 130s, 160s, 180s. Yeah, so we're seeing the transition aspect. And Carl, we kind of talked about this. We've been talking about this morning with the pattern, and once you start and everybody's kind of using surface, trying to break them down a certain way, and now when everybody starts to move, the transition starts happening game 2, and it's going to be who can adjust the fastest and who can keep it in play.
No, absolutely. It's one of those things where no one had an opportunity to really kind of put the pattern to the paces, just because of the simple fact that I wasn't allowing anyone to see the pattern, let alone practice on it. So I really couldn't give or get too much testing on it per se. So it was kind of a shot in the dark. But I worked with good people to create the pattern, so we knew how it was going to play overall. But we probably weren't going to know exactly what it's going to look like, with this caliber of bowler and this many games on it. And
Correct.
That's kind of the mystery. So as this unfolds over the next few days, we're going to see. I had a guess on what I wanted the scores to be after 6 games for the final cut over these 8 squads. I wanted plus 60. I don't know. What do you guys think?
That is too far to even try and predict based on,
We're on game 2. Obviously.
Well, yeah, game 2 of squad 1 and what we've seen so far. Because like I said, I mean, some of these folks that have jumped pairs that, that ground out had a decent first game, but now they're going to the pair next door, and there's some 150s, 160s, 180.
Here's what I would say, and we just talked about it briefly. Shout out to Chris Mays too. He's going to have a nice 226 game with a spare. Based on the pattern, I did not anticipate the details, pattern details. No graph, and we did show that on the screen to start the broadcast. I didn't anticipate really seeing like and I won't say it's a defined friction point, but there is friction, and you can clearly see your ball make a turn, which I didn't anticipate. So I think from that vantage point, typically if you give good bowlers friction, they will figure out a way to put strikes together. So I think it could be north of plus 60, just based on what I've seen in a game and a half.
No, it is very possible, and obviously there's going to be amazing caliber bowlers. They're just going to find it. Does the 1 in 5 cut at the top 20% of the field? What's that final number? There's going to be guys north, north.
And at the end of the day, if it's just north, at the end of the day, if that's the cut number, then you still probably hit where you were looking at from a bowling analogy perspective.
And I love watching Schlem right now.
Yeah.
He's taking selfies and he's just having he's in his element right now.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, obviously
people,
they're message me like, hey, where are you at? What are you doing? And then so I'm like, oh, this is what I'm doing. They're like, oh, okay.
Well, I wanted to take a moment and thank the both of you for traveling, all this way, especially you, Emil. I know you're going to be living here with me for the foreseeable future. And Chris is.
What about me? I'm going to be living too, bro.
No, I know.
Gotta keep on living.
But
keep on
you
keeping
can
on, man.
actually
Keep on
go
living.
get dinner. You can do whatever you want.
Doesn't mean I'm going to.
I understand.
I told you guys I'm here for y'all. I'm a stunt double. Whatever you guys need me to do, I'm here for both of y'all.
I asked Slim last week, or 2 weeks ago, I guess now. We worked an event in Iowa. And now Chris was there on behalf of Roto-Grip. They were the sponsor of this event. Wonderful youth event. Shout out to Midwest Youth Main Event.
Yes, that was an awesome deal. Yep.
And but he was asking me what I need.
That's it, dude.
And honestly, we really had. I mean, we've had a few combos here and there over our years, I guess, in this industry, right? But we never really had a chance to just chat, hang out like we did a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you as well.
No, absolutely, man. I mean, we've talked about it before in the bowling world, and Carl, you and I go way back. I mean,
We do.
and we've been mentioning a lot here recently as a company. Man, bowling's family. We're all in this together, and you know the reason why this event is happening is because you've got a passion. You've got a family of bowlers around you to support it, and that's this. There's why there's people here on a Thursday morning bowling the opening squad.
Yep.
Because that's what bowlers do, you know. So this is all one big, yeah. So those of us in the industry, we help each other out, and you know, it's like I referred to, teamwork makes the dream work, you know. So
I do. And like I said, you know, between you, Theo, Emil, and everyone behind the scenes.
I'm wondering where the beer vendor and the hot dog cart is, but you know,
on the
hey,
golf
that's
course today?
maybe that's later, I guess.
Well,
on the golf course,
we can
No,
we can
what
make that
concourse?
happen.
He's
We
talking
can make
about
this
Theo.
happen.
Imagine that. Just, if it was like a hot dog. Actually are some bowling centers that do have that, where they've actually got a cart that goes up and down the
Well,
concourse.
funny thing, you should mention hot dog cart. Theo
Yeah.
owns a hot dog cart, but unfortunately, he's booked his father out, basically working all weekend except at our tournament.
Oh, okay. Well,
You know,
that's a
so
thing.
That's
I get
that's
it.
a, we'll get Theo on here later throughout the weekend, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
and We'll give him a little bit of grief on that.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was watching you know, some 170s, 190s, and again, kind of grinding, filling frames. That's the main focus. 240 over here on 7 and 8. So that looks to be high game of game 2 that I can recall.
I mean, Zweig just
Yeah.
pulled out a 202.
They're starting to get sprinkled, if you will, right? There's 247.
Yep.
There was a 226.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that might be it as far as scores, right? So you get some good scores on the fresh.
Yeah.
As you mentioned, switch pairs. Things will be a little different.
Absolutely. And again, I think it's going to get into, like we talked about in this deal, just from what I've seen so far, the lane surface, the topography, and there's going to be, other parts of this building. Right now we're currently 3 through 14. Other parts of the building when we get more bowlers and things start, what pairs do what. Again, you just throw in more variables and more X factors, if you will. So we'll see how this, how stuff keeps transpiring and changing. So, and as we're going through some more switches here, we got Rich Armstrong here stepping up in front of us. I met Rich earlier this morning. He actually works here in the pro shop with Dave Sprigliano, Bowling Dynamics.
Take a quick look at
You got scores ready?
Wesley Lowe, too.
Oh, he don't count.
And,
we
just-
know what he strikes.
Just at that 5 through 8 area. Again, some of our players obviously moving left, getting closer and closer. Now we can see a little bit of Bob Wiley. I'm not sure if that was Bob who shot 247. That was Wesley Lowe. So Wesley shot 247. He has made his way into the lead.
Okay.
That's plus 63.
Gotcha.
Bob Wiley now second at plus 8.
All right.
Josh Williams third at plus 13. Chris Mays is fourth at plus 10. Chad Luce fifth, plus 2. Troy Blickenstaff sixth at plus 1. It's a tie for seventh at minus 2 between Zach Schroeder and Aaron Carabell. Brandon Calderon ninth at minus 4. And Dave Sirigliano 10th right now at minus 10.
Okay.
Carl, quick question for you. Just on Tournament Bowl, there is, in fact, let me confirm that before I ask the question. All right, it's the same. There is kind of a red line that kind of mimics a cut number, if you will. We don't need to kind of read into that. So,
No.
right? Just kind of one of those
It's just there through
tournament
Bowl right now.
software option. Right. Just making sure. Thank you.
Oh. Tickles off the wall. And again, using a bigger ball. And it seems to be the case. It's watching people transition, go pair to pair. It looks to be a lot of the bigger balls are in play, both symmetric and asymmetric. Because again, you're using a little bit more surface. using a little bit more flair to blend the lane out, if you will. Because again, like you mentioned, there's not a really defined friction, but there is some friction available, and it looks like on certain pairs. Because it's really seeing it now as we're now into the start of game 3, and now folks have moved to their third pair, and I think if they throw a shot, maybe they think it's decent, and it does something a little bit more drastic than what they were expecting. I think is what we're seeing. The headpin being missed both directions, both the left and right, or at least I have in these the first few frames here. So. So I think that's the, like I said, it's the key is keeping the ball in front of you, keep it in play, fill in frames, like any tournament, commonality.
A little bit of an eye on what's going on 5 through 8 for a minute. Bottom right of your screen. We'll go back to full screen in a bit.
Okay.
9 through 12 looks to be, I would say, pretty solid pairs so far through a couple of games. If you are just joining us, this is Squad 1, Agent on Open. We've got 8 total squads, and I should say 8 full-length squads, meaning 6-game squads. So there'll be 8 of those total, not today, certainly, but throughout today, Friday, and Saturday. There will be a Desperado squad as well. That'll be essentially a very quick 2-game sprint on Saturday night, which will finalize the field for Sunday. 24 players will advance to Sunday and will be single elimination match play. The top 8, that 24, will earn a first-round bye. And then we'll have essentially 2 rounds of 16. We'll get to a round of 8. And then we'll have a step-ladder final, including 4 players, for the opportunity to win $10,000, courtesy of Carl and Kathy Ong and the numerous wonderful sponsors of this event.
So you've worked plenty of other events. I mean, obviously, excluding tour stops. Can you recall many amateur events that are 10K on top?
And I'm being very honest with you. My streaming background is, obviously do a lot of work. Great spare, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely.
How about that?
Yep.
That's a nice hand clap. 5'6". Between Bowl TV and obviously Bowl TV has always covered professional bowling at the highest levels. PBA, of course, within this past year or 2 years. Yeah. PWBA. And so when I got into Coach's Bowl Stream TV, my man Craig Elliott was already doing a few of these higher level like events. Mike Flanagan was doing a few high level events like this from Inside Bowling. And so I knew there were a couple out there, but I had really never been to one. Okay. Until I went to my first was the New Mexico Open.
Okay. Yeah. Steve Mackey, that event's been going for, what is it, 26 years?
This year was the 19th year.
19th year. Okay.
Next year will be 20.
Yeah. And Steve Mackey's been in the bowling industry for a long time. Yes. That family is known, through bowling. And that's right. I forgot about that one. That one pays, $12,000? Yeah. Actually, this one paid 13. It was 13. The highest prize fund in the history of the tournament. Gotcha. But it's always been a 5-figure, minimum 10K event. Yep. Then I got a chance to work at the Bradley Open. That too, 12K event. Awesome. And there are a few Theo's event, the new Cactus Classic, which ran for its second time, 10,000 to the winner. Okay. And so there are a few. It's cool that, I guess the point I was trying to get to in the fact of we've got all these different amateur events that you don't have to be a pro bowler. Correct. To bowl for money. You are correct. You know what I'm saying? And, if you've got to travel to get here, which, again, there's folks that, from different parts of the country. Well, Hope's here. I mean, Hope, and they live in Indiana, so it's one of those deals of you're coming to bowl for a chance to win, and you're going to have some expenses tied to it, but it's one, we were talking about people that you didn't expect. I didn't know. I didn't expect to see Hope. I saw Hope every week for 3 months. I certainly didn't expect to see her this week in Phoenix. Surprise, here she is. In Chandler, Arizona. But, players like Hope and Alec Keplinger, they should be bowled. This is exactly why Carl and Kathy did
put this together.
Exactly it. Yep. And it just adds to all the other events you mentioned, with that, 10 plus thousand on top. I mean, it's yeah, it's bowling.
No, it's been fun putting this together. Stressful, but fun for sure. We have guys from Canada and people from Boston. So yeah, all over. So this has been, and then we're getting a bunch of people that are still reaching out and said that they're on their way.
Yeah. Well, and that's what you and I have actually talked about, the walk-ins. And again, it's hard to judge, and we know how, the truth of the matter is we know how bowlers are. And the fact of, oh, yeah, I think I'll bowl in that. Well, did you sign up? Nah, I'm just going to get there. You know what I'm saying?
When we show up.
So, some people that just some bowlers have the deal of, man, I'm planning my trip. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. And other ones, they kind of wing it a little bit. They're kind of like, yeah, I'm going to come up. Oh, okay. See you when you get here, I guess. All right, sweet.
So there's a group out of California.
Yeah.
I know they're all on their way.
Yeah.
But talking to them is, you just never know exactly when they're going to show up. They just said they're going to be there.
Yeah, they'll be here.
Yeah.
Yeah. What time exactly?
Who knows?
Good guess. Depends on if they have to stop and, do something along the way. Or
Right. I'm anticipating a very good sweeper this evening.
Yeah, I believe so, and that's what we were talking earlier of, and again the format-wise, and like I mentioned that you and I have talked about it. It's one of those things of having just kind of like a TAT where you have those VIP events that they're not qualifying to get to the finals, but it's another option to see the pattern.
Correct.
If you don't have basically an organized practice session, you know what I'm saying, and it's kind of hard to do all of that kind of stuff. So I think the sweeper is a great add-on, a great idea. And you're right. I do believe that, especially if folks are planning to come bowl or they're
Did you see that?
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt your thought, but I just watched the 4 into the 2 into the 1 tumble for
Like you've never
Mr.
seen
Armstrong?
that. Like you've never seen it before.
What is that? I've never seen
It
that.
was a strike. Well, look at the scoreboard. It's a big X.
Once again, I don't bowl anymore. I haven't thrown a strike in God knows how long.
At the top of the broadcast, Shalim said, this type of event, the pattern, etc. Kerry is going to play a big role.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And so
Prime example.
there's been some favorable carry. We saw the 2-8-10 trip for
Trip
Matt
2-8-10
Zweig.
for Zweig earlier, and then it's the whole deal of watch some people that back-to-back shots. A righty was back-to-back 7 pins.
Yeah, there's no one that's
so-
going to qualify that's not going to get breaks.
That's how it works. It's part of bowling.
absolutely.
There's always the unexplainable luck factor. It doesn't matter how great you are or what the situation is, and it doesn't matter whether it's somebody professional bowling for a U.S. Open title or somebody bowling their local 9-pin no-tap sweeper. There's a luck.
Right.
There's going to be a luck factor involved. So.
There's Kevin Jenkins saying I haven't struck in over 25 years. See?
Oh,
Told
see?
you guys.
Or that's where you're supposed to say, "Hey, I'm perfect. I haven't missed in 25 years."
I have not. I have not.
Quick shout out to Matt Jones as well. And Matt, hope all is well.
Matt Jones.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, he's on his way.
Sweet.
He'll be here this weekend.
Very
And-
cool.
And thank you, Matt, for the compliment. I appreciate it.
Carl, I assume you've known Mike for a minute.
Val,
Yeah.
funny story. I met him for the first time on Thursday.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Last Thursday.
This past
no.
Thursday when he arrived into Phoenix.
Oh, yesterday.
Oh, yesterday, Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Jeez,
Wednesday.
What day is this?
Today is Thursday, and
Yeah,
I'm like,
the first
it's
squad
too
of my
early
own
for that.
tournament. Yes.
Okay.
It's extremely early. As you know, I've only been working and not sleeping apparently. So no, he had reached out to Robert Smith and asked him, "Is this tournament for real?" months ago. Obviously no one's ever heard of it because there's no history behind it. And then he had reached out to Robert, making sure that this was a legit tournament. And then he ended up reaching out to me, Mike, personally, and we chatted about the tournament, and here he is. But yes, I've had conversations with him over the last few months, here and there. But face-to-face interaction, the first time I met him was yesterday.
That was cool. Honestly, I wouldn't have known that based on how you guys were interacting, which is good from both standpoints in that situation.
Yeah, I mean, it's, I try to be friendly with everybody, I guess.
Mike Hardesty checking in this morning. Hello, Mike.
That's another guy behind the scenes that has been nothing but super supportive of this tournament. There's so many people I can thank. So again, as you see them here over the weekend, I have a lot of shaking hands to do and a lot of people to say thank you to. So for sure. And Mike Hardesty is definitely one of them.
Wesley Lowe down on 5 and 6. And can get to what I believe now is going to be 204 max. Zach Schroeder still with 227 left. He'll be in the 10th frame here, bottom right of your screen. I'm pretty sure that Mike Val had he did a podcast, and it still probably does, with Justin Bone.
That's right. I lose track of all the different bowling podcasts now. People are like, "Oh, did you see this?" And I'm like, "No." Well, what about this one? I'm like, I don't know what days, when, who all's doing what. There's a lot of them.
There's a lot.
Yeah, but it's a good thing.
Which is great.
Yeah, I mean, we can never have. I mean, you look at the sport we love, and the reason why we're all here together doing this is because we love bowling. It's what we do, and yeah, there's all different perceptions and views on it, and yeah, we need all those to be available.
Yeah, and everyone should subscribe to all of them.
Absolutely.
Honestly. And that's really, there's so many ways to support the industry, but, there has been a content, obviously, kick in the last 4 to 5 years or so, we'll call it, and to help bring the sport to the masses in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
And, so
yeah,
not only
because
subscribe here, subscribe to IB, and anywhere else.
I think we touched upon it of, maybe it was another conversation I had last night. It's one of those things of, comparatively speaking, when you look at the pro tours and the kind of the shorter schedules, this is the way to, like exactly what you said, get it to the masses, because bowling's still happening outside of the pro tour, and obviously we got professionals here that are going to bowl this event. So there is, we don't, it's not going to be broadcast live on Fox or ABC or CBS Sports Network or anything like that, but Bowl Stream is where it's at, and exactly as my man likes to say, pound that subscribe button. Like, not just click it, just pound it. Just take your fist and hit that subscribe button. Punch your screen if you have to, whatever.
Beat the hell out of it.
Well,
Yeah,
I tell you
exactly.
that just happened, but not to the 7th pin. The 10th pin was taken out fiercely. So Mike did get a break there on lane 11.
And so it's looking, 227. Finished up there on lane 5. I believe he had 240 the first game.
Yeah, with 247.
Yeah.
247, 153, and now 227.
220. Yep. So again, moving pairs. And so, example of Williams pairs to our right. B Roller's got 230 left, but technically pacing 210. Looking at 170, looking at a 180. Catching the 3-bagger. It's pretty good rebound there after a little rough start there at the beginning. And so, that's the thing of piecing together, catching your turkeys and ham bones when you can catch them. And hopefully that your shots
That's trademarked.
hoping that your shots in between aren't, like there's a 4-5 on the board. We've seen some 3-5s. So, it's rolls the 10.
Nice
there
jab.
we go. So it's minimizing mistakes is really the whole deal of minimizing opens. Looks to be online pretty good right there.
Speaking of podcasts, got to give a quick little shout out to Sweep the Rack. They are going to be our named sponsor this evening for our sweeper.
Yes.
And they've been super supportive. Big Mike and Rob.
Yeah.
They've had quite a few little segments here and there through the last few months supporting our events. So I got to give them a quick shout out to them. And thank
Absolutely.
them
You don't
for
have to give
that.
them a quick shout out. You just keep giving them shout outs for,
Fair enough.
for
Absolutely.
being here. And, and I know Rob's going to be here later today.
Yeah, he will be with you guys.
He
this evening.
was, my man had to get up early. What did he tell us he had to be at?
4:30.
4:30 this
yeah.
morning because
Yeah.
of the East Coast time for his actual day job.
Yep.
He's like, bro, I'll see you guys in the afternoon. I'm like, what time are you going to be at work? He goes, oh, I got to be up at 4:30. And I'm like, wait, what? Well,
He's at his desk right now watching this stream. You know, he's
you
watching.
know that's what he's
You
doing.
know he's watching.
Shout out to Rob. And all right, so and again, we're looking at I'm not going to cloud him, jinx him. I'm gonna let him throw this shot because I've been a cloud for like every time I mention something. So we'll just watch 7 and 8. How about that? Pretty good pitch. So my man's still got 250 left. So, and again, it looks like he still has another ball. So it looks like he went to this pair and he's got one ball in the left lane and a different ball in the right lane. Still.
Well, I want to let you professionals get to it. I'm going to go say hi to some people and
Okay.
check out some bowling. But thanks again for being on. And
No, absolutely.
we'll check in here shortly with you guys.
Oh,
Appreciate
for
you,
sure.
Carl.
Yep. And that right there was the voice of the man behind this master plan, Mr. Carl Ong himself, host and creator of the Agent Ong Open. And man, watching some random pin rolls and bounces on spare shots and strike shots. So yeah, the carry is definitely going to be the tricky thing as we watch it unravel here. Some decent games right here in front of us. Looking at Mr. Dahmer here is, still got 190. You can catch this one right here. Still got 190 on the board. So again, keeping mistakes to a minimum is the plan in order to survive and advance, if you will.
Shout out to Jordan Asberg checking in. What's up, Coach? Hope you're well. Hope the family's all right. Steph Sell, I saw you early. You might have been the first one to comment today. I think you were.
Is there a prize for that? Do you have like a
You know,
bowl stream prize for?
Maybe we should start doing that. It's like if you're a fan of, excuse me, and many people are of sports wagering. The first anything is a popular choice. First TD score, first bucket score, whatever sport. So maybe first commenter.
Yeah.
Might be a thing.
Yeah, we need some like bowl stream swag. I don't know if you got that on the docket or on the agenda. You got some bowl stream swag. Got some beanies, hoodies.
Nice plan, putting a plan together, I should say, for 2024.
Okay, perfect.
I got a lot of goals. I'm going to put more when I can find the time, but more of that time into continuing to grow the channel.
So I think, in the meantime, in the interim, because, I'm here and obviously, here to support and be a part of this. So over the next couple days, why don't we come up with a couple giveaways, and then Rotogrip and Storm and Global we'll figure out what we're going to give away. But
how about that?
We'll do some giveaways. What do you think?
Hey,
you cool with that?
I'm good.
You and I we'll have to have some powwows to figure
we'll
out what the
chat.
best way. But yeah, that way we give away some stuff to you. Got some dedicated supporters here on the Bowl Stream feed, and so you get your swag and your Bowl Stream suitcases and Bowl Stream bowling bags and Bowl Stream trench coats and Bowl Stream umbrellas and all that fun stuff. Whatever cool swag you come up with. Pretty good pitch right there.
Nice spare. You saw the one, of course, from Matt Zweig. And for Zweig, that's going to be, or that shot got him into the 240s.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's got the, it's going to be so far the high score of the squad. And again, he's still sticking with that, different ball in each lane. So again, it must be something he saw or something that he feels is in order to, pretty good pitch right there. To stick with the bigger ball in the left lane. Now back-to-back pairs, now's a perfect shot. He gave himself the opportunity to try a different shot and a different ball on the fill. And wow, he's got a lot more surface on. Looks like a virtual energy blackout, I believe. So again, it's understanding equipment, know what's going to do what and what plays off of what. So we'll see how this shakes out for him.
Always interesting watching Matt. I've watched him a few times now, and the one thing I know after watching him, he's not afraid to take a few risks.
Correct. And I guess I don't know him per se personally. Obviously a lot of these guys I've seen in social media and stuff like that, and finalists in different events. But yeah, I do recall seeing some different things of, not scared to make a big move, per se. Where some folks, it's, I'm going to make a move. Well, they make a minute. Well,
right.
There's some that are not scared to make that ball change and move a zone, or two zones, if you will. So yeah, 256 is gonna boost him up the board, if you will. And we're gonna move into game 4. And again, we'll see how these transitions are happening. Quite a few folks that within the first shot or two are splitting. So again, that's telling you that transition pair to pair is not exactly a uniform or an easy move as you go pair to pair. So
you see Bob Wiley getting us started. And the few events like the Cactus Classic, for example, that I've done, excuse me, with Theo Dufay. And where Bob is one of the top senior players in the area. Keith Dauber, same thing.
okay.
If you are just joining us, we've now reached game number 4, Squad 1 of the Agent Ong Open. My name is Emil Williams Jr. with Bullstream TV. Chris Schlimmer of Roto Grip will be here with us throughout the weekend.
Yep.
As well, supporting
Like I said,
the tournament.
I'm a stunt double. Whenever you need me.
He is here to support Carl and Kathy and the event in itself. And of course, he'll be joining us throughout the weekend in and out.
Yes, sir. Oh,
Saw
roll
that
across
on
the deck,
4.
trip 4. Nice. Whoa. Snowplow for a strike. I think he's going to take it. He's not going to argue with it. All right. We're watching everything transition here. Wesley Lowe has now moved down to 3 and 4. He's starting with the front 3. So he's in a pretty good spot. A couple other guys on the pair. Looks like C is, off to a little bit of a tough spot. But yeah, right here in front of us, see Brandon Calderon, obviously making the move from 13 to 14. So she's on the left side. She's going left. The first shot on 12 there, she 210, makes a bit of an adjustment, and that goes through the face. So that's going to be a common thing we're going to see too. Some of these bowlers, as they move across the house, like I mentioned numerous times already here in this first squad of transition and as they move. But yeah, some of these pairs, some of the pairs and some of the lanes individually are going to have bowlers guessing is exactly what we're seeing right now. And like I said, it's one of those things that she converts a spare there. It's one of those deals of you get kind of caught up, or maybe and what you had on a pretty good shot there. making the move off of the through the face strike before that. I think the big thing is going to be the, like I said, mistakes to a minimum and figuring out the transitions and almost, as we like to refer in bowling as a short-term memory loss, you know, because once you get done with a pair, you almost have to kind of forget it and get to the next one, because in some cases it's drastically different based on how they're breaking down and whoever started on that pair and all these other variables that plug into that. So again, we'll see how this plays out over the course of the next few days with all these different squads. And again, unforced errors when you're looking at when you're plugging in some 9 outs. That doesn't help when you're in. I can't even say it's. I mean, it's maybe not super demanding, but you don't want to get caught, you know, giving away pins when you get into this kind of thing. Of, you know, you want to convert the 9 spares, 8 spares, the best you can, but and again, avoid the rough shots where it's, you know, a 4-5 or a 6-2. You know, leaving designs. Like we see here, Brandy definitely, this pair's got her talking to herself after what she came off of 13 and 14. So
Good question again from Paul. Paul asks, is this the house or sport shot? It is definitely a sport compliant lane condition. It is 42 feet.
Yep.
And with 34.5 mils. Let's put the graph back on the screen here for you. In fact, Paul, just in case you missed that, let's see. Let's pick the perfect opportunity, because it is a wide graphic. So we'll wait for 12. For Brandy to try to convert the super washout, which she successfully does. Well done there.
She goes, I finally made one, which means she's made left a couple of those today. Already.
All right, and there are the pattern details. No graph, as Carl did not want to release the graph, but he did release the
kind of the pattern details,
the neat details, if you will,
yeah,
with distance, ratio, and volume, as you can see there.
Yeah, and you know, I mean, we talked about it a few weeks ago. The common thing, especially for the kids, and the pattern, the different patterns on the rule of 31. In a case like this, you can maybe see that the rule of 31, obviously a 42-foot pattern, rule of 31, you know, with a breakpoint down lane of, you know, around that 10 zone. There are no tracers down lane, and like we saw, some bowlers use surface and played out, some played in, and some are migrating left. But with the pattern being seemingly, it's just looking a little bit flatter. So as the bowlers are moving, transitioning left, I guess you should say, now they're starting to see their ball pick up in different parts of the lane. And it's now happening across every pair, as I'm watching bowlers that come back and they're like, okay, I made a move and it picked up in a totally different spot. And that's just part of the pattern, as well as what we talked about with topography and lane surface. So again, it's going to be who can make the proper moves and adjustments. And, you know, is it now that they're transitioning and moving left, they're starting to see a lot more people going through the face. So that means it's going to go to different balls. But what type of RG and differential do you have to go to? Because you still need it to read in a certain spot, but you also don't need it to overshoot. Because if the big balls are still a possibility of a 2-8-10, that means the shiny balls really got a chance of a 2-8-10. So, you know, I think that's the big thing too, is we're still seeing all the balls that are out here. They're all solid. I see a lot of solid cover stocks, a lot of surface. So, you know, again, this is the opening squad. I think it's the learning squad, if you will.
Sure. Until
we get to that sweeper tonight to see, you know, some more people kind of attack the pattern maybe differently.
Mike. He's close. He started with a double this game. That hiccup in frame 3. And now something makeable. Valenzuela.
It's a cool shirt.
Yeah, I'm digging that.
I'm wearing flowers today, and I'm those who know me, I'm very subdued and very conservative, very quiet in my style and choice of clothing. Said no one ever. So bright and colorful is always a cool thing.
Score update after 3. Wesley Lowe at plus 56. Bob Wiley is second at plus 33 overall. Matt Zweig plus 29. That's third. Josh Williams fourth at plus 26. Zach Schroeder plus 25. Troy Blickenstaff plus 21. That is fifth and sixth respectively. Dave Sirigliano minus 3. In 7th, Aaron Carabell is 8th at minus 5. Chris Mays, 9th at minus 11. And Mike Vallers, we are watching right now, minus 31, and that's your top 10. Important to note, there are a couple of unique items to this tournament. Not only certainly giving away $10,000, but it is not a solely scratch event.
Correct.
And that's important as we get into these squads. And you'll be looking at the standings, obviously, throughout the week and the weekend. And you may see something that, to you, it may not make sense off the surface, or someone's scratch total isn't quite adding up for them to either be leading or second or whatever it may be. So if you enter in this event with a 209 and under average, you get 7 pins a game.
Mm-hmm.
If you average 210 or better and are 55, age-wise, 55 and over, or women who compete, don't have to be 55, I believe, plus 5 pins a game.
Mm-hmm.
If you average 210 or better and you're a PBA, PWBA member, or a national or regional titleist, along with national team member, you bowl scratch. So there are kind of 3 different levels of, from a handicap or pins perspective. And a little bit of we talk about different, unique, when you think 5-figure paydays, typically handicap is not involved.
Correct.
Unless, maybe like an ABT or something similar to that.
Yep.
And but I like how it's, to me, it's like nicely sprinkled in.
Correct.
If that makes sense.
And the when Carl and I actually talked about that, dating back, like I said, this concept, his premonition and thought of this was like a year ago. It's been a year in the making. But one of the things we brought up was actually in Europe. There was that. This was kind of a stem off of that, because when you think about, when Liz Johnson and some of the other girls will go bowl some of those events in Europe where the girls get I think it was 7 pins a game or 6 pins or whatever it was. Even though they're, obviously they're PWBA champions, but in the grand scheme of things, based on the scoring condition and the pattern, predominantly they're not going to have the rev rate. They're not going to. All these other variables kind of come into play, and it. It's one of those things that it helped sprinkle them in, and it didn't give anybody an extreme advantage. You know what I'm saying? It just got to actually leveled the field a little bit. And so that was one of the things that Carl and I talked about, of trying to get, and like you said, maybe not going full ABT or even like what we have in the TAT, the two amateur tournaments, where, obviously the lower handicaps, obviously there's more handicap involved. But then you're staying within your division, where this kind of helps bring everybody into the same, like you said, playing field. And it's not to say that this is the perfect answer to it. And that's one thing, Carl and I talked about as well. It's like, this is the first one, and, it's going to be a learning curve, no matter what, do's, don'ts. Hey, maybe next year you change to this, or maybe this stays the same. Maybe we add something else. And again, I'm not. What I'm saying is, in his behalf, what he's going to do. Because I'm just a behind the scenes, helping with ideas and whatever kind of thing. There's always ways to again, you want to make it to where, and I think that's what's cool about this collection of bowlers that we're going to see throughout the weekend. Yeah, we rattle off some, tour players and some good amateur players, but the goal is to also have some, local league bowlers or, people that travel from wherever they travel from that are, well, maybe we've never heard of. We're like, hey, I can go bowl that. Like, hey, I'm going to get a few pins, and it may, without, all of a sudden somebody coming in and go, well, how come I don't get 35 pins a game? Okay, well, this is not that kind of tournament. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I think it's all going to shake out in the end.
Chris Mays trying to be one of those players in the mix when it shakes out on Sunday and help his calls here in ninth frame.
Pretty good pitch.
Very nice high flush.
Yep.
Had some good questions earlier about who's going to be bowling from a professional standpoint. And so if you are on the tournamentbowl.com standings page, you'll see the 2023 Agent on the Open, kind of a banner above results. And then there's like a full roster click, and it'll show you who at the moment is entered.
Currently signed up.
Right.
Currently there's going to be some
per squad.
There's going to be some walk-ins. As we already mentioned, confirmation that one of my children, Simo, is going to pop in this weekend. And he's the typical thing. We talked about it. Well, I think we had the conversations last night, the group of us, the number of bowlers that sometimes, even for professional tournaments, like they forget to sign up or they're like last minute or like, hey, by the way. And there's been times where I get a message, or even somebody like Gary Holzenberger get a message like, hey, do you know your bowler didn't sign up for this week's tournament? Oh, yeah, let's try and figure that out. So that's bowlers being bowlers kind of thing. So we will take that in stride. But anyway, yeah, there'll be plenty of walk-ins, like Carl mentioned. And that's what you expect in this kind of thing. If somebody maybe last-minute decision of, hey, you know what, I can get there. I'm going to go pop in for a squad or two and see if I can, take my chances at collecting 10K.
I know Ed was in the chat earlier, and Ed is scheduled to bowl tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. So thanks, Ed. If I don't see you today,
we'll see you tomorrow.
See you in the morning.
Heck yeah.
But the 2 o'clock squad today is a good preview of what the rest of the weekend might look like from a bowler perspective. And the reason I say that, excuse me, my man Marlon Brown, very good local player here. He's going to bowl multiple squads this weekend. He's bowling. I'm sorry, Ed. You're bowling at 2 o'clock today, too. So Ed's bowling twice.
So there you go. Yeah.
All right, so we'll see you in a bit, Ed.
Yep.
Brian Halen is bowling at 2 p.m. He's moved out to this area now, so he's a local at this point.
By definition.
Yes. Adrian, he's originally from South Carolina, if I'm not mistaken. Adrian Hare is bowling, if that name sounds familiar.
Yep.
Formerly Adrian Miller, daughter of Mike Miller.
Yep.
So she's bowling. I think her husband's bowling as well. Kyle King's bowling.
Yep.
Chad's bowling again. He's bowling right now. My man John Mayer, I just go with both names because that's kind of the running joke. Because no matter how many times he tells me, I'm going to say the opposite.
Gotcha.
He's like the only person in the world that I do that to. But I saw him last night. He's bowling today. Kyle Ponzo. Who else? Nate Prince, Jason O. I mentioned Michael Johnston, Tim Simonis, Justin Sims, Robert Smith, the Robert Smith.
Yeah.
Robert Smith.
The one that's almost 50.
He's
the
bowling.
One that's almost ready for the senior tour.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, that's the next wave coming out. We we were joking with that last night. The next wave of 50-year-olds that are heading out on the senior tour. Robert Smith's in that category. Brian Himmerler just turned 50.
Wow.
Yeah, crazy. We're all getting older. That's the realistic truth of. It's like, oh man, we are that age. Okay,
that's wild right there. Chris Strail, Garrett Strail, and Gregory Thompson Jr. Of course, Robert Smith and GT2 are bowling the action match tonight after the sweeper. We'll have that for you on Bowlstring TV as well, so don't forget about that. And Kevin Williams is also bowling. Kevin Williams, the PBA champion.
K-Will?
Music mogul.
Yeah. K-Will from the Midwest.
Yeah, originally Springfield, Missouri.
I think that's where he's still that way.
Now he
I
just
guess.
moved.
Oh, where's he at now?
He lives in the Sacramento area, if I'm not mistaken, of California now.
Oh, wow. Okay.
If it's not Sacramento, my apologies, but it is Cali though.
Okay.
He did move to California.
Gotcha.
So he's going to be bowling. In fact, he didn't win, or he just won a regional, maybe within the last, I would say, 3 to 4 months in the West region.
Okay. Gotcha.
So he's bowling today.
All right.
Or this afternoon, and we got a chance to see Aaron Yamamoto yesterday as well. He is bowling today. Great finish from Hunter Mays and Bob Wiley, 234, 215 respectively.
Yep.
As Mike Vowell's trying to at least double, try to save 170 plus here. And folks, that's just the 2 o'clock squad today. So
This afternoon, yeah. Again, we got, and it's like any other type of event. Like we mentioned, Rob. I mean, he's like, "Oh, dude, I got to work." And there's still people that are going to work. That maybe they can't sneak away. That maybe they'll work today, maybe go into work tomorrow morning, and then sneak in for the afternoon squad tomorrow afternoon. And try and catch the Friday evening, and then Saturday. So that's a common thing. Guys are watching some strikes getting strung together here. We're looking at Dave Sorigliano's got he's looking at 220 with a possibility of 230. Oh, does he like it? He likes it. And again, exactly the cloud of Schlemm is in full effect, but that was a great shot for kind of just a blah 7.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
So the man's going to hopefully convert that and put up 226. And, oh, all right. Well, and again, we got a variety of scores here. Yeah, like over here on 13 to 14, we had 170, 199, and 201. So obviously that was a grind session on that pair. A couple 230s. Other scores here and there.
Well, let's take a full look at 5 through 8 real quick as they finish up. Hello to Linda Ardo checking in. Hope the family as well. Linda, thank you for your support as always. Hope Ryan as well. Every time I see Ryan post something on social media, it typically involves an honor score or he won something. So that's always good.
There you go.
Solid game there for, again, Dave, as you just mentioned. And then Matt Zweig still. Chance to put up another number.
Another 240, hypothetically. Potentially. I probably clouded him, so I'm
You're leaning into the cloud this afternoon.
I'm feeling like Del Ballard Jr. right now. That's what. And those of you who know Delmas on a personal level, he is also known as the Black Cloud. And yep, there you go. And Matt, 10 pin. So I think I need to keep my mouth shut and help these bowlers score better seemingly. Every time I mention something that ends up being a 7 or a 10 or a not strike with the potential of a bigger finish. So
Quick shout out to my wife, Shanice, who is checking in and watching. Shanice, Chris Schlimmer, who is with me here, asked me last night, did all go well with our taffy apple sales?
yes,
And of course I had to tell him yes, yes it did.
we had the apple train was rolling in Iowa, folks. It was awesome. That was when some of the folks all of a sudden they're like, "Hey, where'd Emil go?" "Oh, he's busy. He's selling apples right now." But obviously the support system there, the people there were great. Just again,
Jordan,
talking about family being family.
Yes.
In bowling.
The bowling family took care of my actual family,
Yeah, exactly.
and I appreciate them for that. The Brandolinos and the Jordans specifically. Yeah, top sellers,
Boom.
baby.
Put that on the chalkboard.
Buy half an apple. I don't know how that happened.
Half an apple?
Maybe half a pack or half a box.
Oh,
I
okay.
guess.
All right.
I don't know
All
how,
right.
but we're there.
Hey, a win's a win.
Yeah, we take all dubs in the Williams household.
Take the dub.
We take all dubs.
Absolutely. I like it. All right.
My apologies there. 7 and 8, 10th frame still. Looks like,
Okay.
well, of course, momentary delay as we'll have 9 and 10 going in a moment. 1 7 and 8 is finished.
A couple ball returns and some stuff here and there. So, yeah, it's common when you have events like this. Hey, look, there's a Carl back in the booth.
There is a Carl back in the booth.
Bada boom, realest guy in the room. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Just kind of walking around.
Yeah?
Just checking out the scores and seeing how things are going out here. So everything's moving smoothly. And
Yeah,
we're starting to get a little crowd in the back, too.
Perfect. Yeah, I mean, it's,
It's a Thursday morning. It's awesome.
Is it morning still? Oh, it is.
It's still morning.
On this
10:46.
side of the country, yes.
Yes. And, dude, I don't know. And I live in Utah, and it was still one of those deals this morning, and it's like, I don't know. Well, like when Rob said that, like, oh, you'll be up at 4:30, and I'm like, dude, why do you get up at 4:30? I forgot that, hey, by the way, I went back another time zone, and he's dealing with people in New York, and it's how many hours different. And I'm like, yeah, that whole time zone thing. Sometimes you get caught up, you lose track in the time warp.
Yeah, I feel bad when I call a meal when I'm like it's like 6 o'clock at night, 7 o'clock at night. I'm like, it's early, and then I realize, oh shoot.
Yeah, he's like, yo, man, what's up? I'm trying to put my kids to bed.
Exactly.
Basically.
Exactly. Yeah, see?
So I'm guilty as charged.
Yeah, exactly.
He's called me in the morning, too, and he just the other day we were talking, and, in the background it was either like Miss Rachel or Coco Melon or something along those lines was going down, and he reverted back to his prior days as a young parent, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
My kids are not as young as yours, Emil. They are
Correct.
13 and 15-year-old young ladies now, I should say. And
Yep.
my son will be out here this evening too. He's turning 21 here
How
in
about that?
December.
That's great.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I liked how you put the young parent days, meaning that you're old.
Well, I'm a young parent,
you are.
but in the ages of my children, not necessarily
exactly.
my age.
True story.
He means I'm old. Don't lie.
Yeah, that's fine. It's all good.
I didn't want to say it.
I know.
I think Brandy here has got to be excited with catching a strike there the first frame. The last couple games have been a little bit of struggle, so hopefully this is the start of something good for her. And again, a good player. She's bowled plenty of PWBA events over the years, and yeah, she'll figure it out. I know she's not only going to bowl one squad and be done. She's going to bowl multiple squads.
I have known Brandy, gosh, since we were
Pretty good pitch right there.
juniors.
Okay.
Yeah,
it's been a while.
Her and Brett.
Yeah.
We've been friends.
Yeah, you guys have been around a long time.
Over 30 years. So yeah.
Hey, speaking of, is Brett going to bowl?
Oh yeah.
I saw him yesterday.
Oh, yeah,
I thought he
he's-
said that when I asked him.
Yes,
I couldn't
he's
remember.
definitely bowling.
He's bowling at some point.
Yes, he's. I got him in. He's bowling tonight at the sweeper for sure.
Yeah.
And then
And-
he's got a couple more.
Yeah.
He's bowling.
Speaking
this
of a guy that kind of came out of nowhere, I can remember I was tour repping him when he came out and won the Masters. And everyone's like, who is this guy? And he won in Reno. And, yeah, that was his highlight of his career. But, again, talented player. Been around a long time, so.
I believe he was just recently inducted into either the Metro Phoenix or the Arizona State Hall. One or the other. I'll get some confirmation on that. But
Yeah. Well, we'll see him later on. Well, he's bowling. Carl said he's bowling sweeper tonight, so we'll definitely get that dialed in. So, yeah, we got.
Are you allowed to curse on here, Emil?
for me personally,
No,
no.
I'm kidding. So Michael Fitzgerald
No.
texted me something, and obviously didn't put it on the stream. So just wanted to know how I feel.
Well, it
about
depends
him
on if
this
there's a
morning.
way we can maybe
Well,
code it.
2 letters.
We can code it.
You say 2 letters.
Well, probably not, but
No, I won't. Professional, very
yeah,
professional.
there's always ways to
He knows what I think.
politely explain what you're trying to get across in a weird, random way.
And he knows that.
Okay, perfect. So we're watching the transitions here again and again, like I've mentioned previous couple games. Looks like Wesley started with a 3-bagger, but 1 double outside his 3-bagger, 2 double. Yeah, 2 doubles in the first 3 frames across the entire squad. So again, it's understanding what your ball's doing and knowing, in some cases, and again, like I said, it's probably something we're going to see. Matt Zweig already started with a different ball in each lane. We'll probably see other players do the same thing. Brandy's actually off to a hot start with strike, spare strike, so maybe looks like another ball change, moved a little bit deeper on the lane, so maybe it's one of those things she's finally starting to see it. Oh, a little channel surfing. That ball jumped when it went down lane. Okay.
Just for our confirmation from Biv, Ron Sloth. Shout out to Ron and Matt. Matt Jones, Brett has been inducted into both.
Oh, okay. Both
Metro
Hall of Fames.
Phoenix
Oh,
and
awesome.
the State Hall.
Very cool.
He just got inducted this year too.
To both of them, or
One was recent. I
One
thought
was
one was
recent.
last year.
Was it
Okay.
just state this year? Or was it? I
Maybe
apologize.
that's
Maybe
your
someone
state.
in the chat.
This is your state.
I
Yeah, we'll get it.
apologize.
you'll have to get him in a booth. Again,
Yeah,
Masters
absolutely.
champion and somebody who's got
Credentials like crazy.
credentials. Yeah.
Now, if
Absolutely.
my memory is right, I feel that Matt Jones, and obviously he'll tell me, he was inducted to the into one of those Halls of Fames last year, right around Cactus Classic time. In fact, he bowled a squad and then went to go get inducted to a Hall of Fame
Oh,
later that night.
there you go. Busy schedule.
Now that's some stuff right there, right? Bowl your squad and then go get inducted to a Hall of
Are you
Fame.
bowling the next spot? No, I can't bowl the next spot. I have to go get inducted to the
That's
Hall of Fame.
legit G stuff.
I'll be
right
back
there.
in the morning.
Yeah, exactly. Legit G stuff right there. Like, yeah, I got a schedule. Whoa, what do we got going on there?
Why would
Okay.
we shoot that?
Okay, well. All good.
Carl, you'll be in a Hall of Fame. in a minute.
Sometimes you just go, all right, all right, all right.
I don't know what I just saw
All
there.
right, all
but,
right, all right.
That's a Theo question right there.
Yeah,
What just happened?
Yeah. That's fine. Oh,
were you saying,
Brady
Emil? I didn't
catching
hear
a
what you
double.
said.
All right, sweet.
No, I was going to say you'll be in the Hall of Fame of tournament directors if
Oh, jeez.
this goes as clean as it is right now.
Well, it's definitely not just my work. There's a lot of people behind the scenes.
Absolutely.
And you guys are making me sound good. You're making this tournament sound really good, so I appreciate you guys for that.
Bro, it's fantastic. I mean, look at the. I mean,
Well,
this
I
is
know
a
for a
Thursday
fact
morning.
that's
Look at the
why
bowlers
I'm
we
here.
have. Yeah, exactly.
That's my job. I can say I do have a job this week.
But I think it's, for inaugural year and the fact of we've got 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21 bowlers
Yes.
on the first squad on a Thursday morning. Yeah.
And
that says something.
I appreciate it. It's
Because
growing
if
too.
it,
This
put it
squads
like
are
this,
building.
this is the start of it, and it could have very easily been 3 bowlers.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
This is also true.
And we live in, in today's world of, like we talked about, people are going to, just like any other big tournaments like we run in or sponsor in Vegas, it's one of those things of, people are working today. They'll probably maybe go in early, work a few hours in the morning, and then they'll pop in for the Friday. And we see that all the time, especially in Vegas, like especially the folks from California.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, I'll see you this weekend, but I'm going to work into, I'm going to work through Thursday and then I'm going to come over Friday, or I'm going to work through Friday, part of Friday. And, I think the same thing we'll have here, even with some of your locals.
Yeah.
Because I think it's, it's one of those things.
Yeah, I got a call this morning from someone out of Vegas. And what time is your what time is your second squad? I said 2 o'clock. I think I can make it. I'm on my way. Bye.
There you go. Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying.
I like that.
Yeah.
I told them to drive safe.
How far of a drive is Vegas?
Depending on the part, 4.5, 5.
Yeah. So
Nothing crazy.
It's reachable.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so, and that's the whole thing, too. That there's a big bowling contingency in Vegas, so I wouldn't be surprised to see more exactly what we've been talking about with bowlers just walking in. People are just going to pop in. You're like, hey, yeah, I thought about it. I'm just going to drive up and bowl.
Yeah, and it's Thursday. They
Yep.
got the whole weekend ahead of them.
Yep.
Mr. Bob Wiley just walking in front of us.
Mm-hmm. as a ball change is what, yep.
Quick update on standings.
Yes, sir. What do you got?
Wesley Lowe, so your leader, plus 88. That's Zweig, second, plus 54. Bob Wiley at plus 53. Zach Schroeder, plus 24. Dave Sirigliano and Chris Mays tied at plus 23. Josh Williams at plus 11. Troy Blickenstaff in front of us at plus 4. I believe this is Aaron Carabell with us as well. I'm going to double check. I thought I saw his score sheet down just behind 9 and 10. He's minus 8. Keith Dahmer struggling a little bit along with Chad. I mean, there's a solid mix of, all right, there's some players that have found it, and at least not only have they found it, but they've been consistent to a degree.
Correct.
And then those who are still looking, and that's where it's like, okay, I'm happy I got a few other squads I can potentially participate in.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, and exactly what we've been talking about is this is opening round 1. You've got a squad this afternoon, and the big thing is going to be exactly what Carl said here a bit ago, is the sweeper tonight. I think we're going to have a great turnout for that, just so people can people are going to use that as a practice session to get to kind of cut their teeth and get a little bit better understanding of what their ball's going to do on it, because exactly what I said, when you put this pattern down. And the different people, the different styles, the different amounts of surface. Some pairs had, people were all using solids in some capacity in the first game, but some were using more surface than others. So it's going to cause transitions to be a little different, lane to lane, and even pair to pair. So pretty good pitch there, Mr. Mays. Yeah, see, that's just not going to open up, and it's definitely, you're definitely going to make shots. The ever popular 4-8-10.
Seen a few interesting leaves.
Yes, sir.
Already today, which, we talked about the center characteristics and, in this role that I serve and work. There was almost another one, just right on cue. And we touched on it a little bit at the top of the broadcast. Sometimes what you see from the house characteristics, whether it's friction, whether it's gutters not in play, whether it's obviously pair to pair is going to be different traditionally no matter where you go. But sometimes you'll see a consistent leave or two, right? I've been to some centers where the 8-pin just looked like it's nailed to the board.
Like it's got Gorilla Glue on the bottom. Yep.
And others where like the pins are just flying, right?
Yep.
So there's all of these different things, and so we've already seen an interesting leave or two already.
Yeah, and we'll talk about it more once we get through it. But that again, that's another. You bring up another variable in terms of the type of pin, the type of kickbacks, how deep the pits are, flat gutter. I mean, there's all these other key components of why pins do what they do. Look at that, almost another 4-8-10, and he rolls out the 4 to leave only the 8-10. So again, you're making the moves, go to pair to pair. This game is looking to be a little bit tougher for everyone across the board. So again, I'm kind of trying to keep pace of like doubles and stuff like that. There aren't too many doubles this game that I'm seeing anywhere.
Got 1 on 8.
Yeah. Okay, 1 on 8 out of the whole squad.
That's the only thing I've seen.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Well, there's a 4-bagger actually on lane 5.
Top. Yeah, so that's strike, split, 4-bagger. So again, that's going to be a solid potential of a solid game when you're looking at the rest of them. Carlos, you and I have talked about it, and then we chatted before this morning. I mean, it's making a pattern not impossible, but playable.
Challenging at the same time.
Yeah, challenging is a good word.
I definitely didn't want to, have a wall of, just bowling on China for this kind of prize fund.
So this brings up a prime example, a perfect segue. Did you create the pattern yourself, or did you have somebody create it for you?
I did. So I worked with a couple guys here at Kyrene Bowlero.
Oh, perfect.
And over multiple iterations.
Yeah. Now, did you guys do some like testing and stuff like that?
We
Had some
did
players?
amongst ourselves.
Okay, perfect.
Like I
Yep.
said, it was very difficult to find anybody that could actually come out because they wanted the bowl.
Right.
So anybody that I would want, or anybody that would be a good person to have test the pattern,
Correct.
we're planning on bowling. And
Correct.
because of that,
Yeah, you don't want to get.
there was just
you don't
really no
wanna fall into that.
opportunity.
Yeah, yeah.
Right,
You don't want to
so-
And it's the same thing that I can tell you from a tournament standpoint. With us, so Steve Klompkin at Storm, we have the Storm Utah Open every year, and Steve does the same thing. Steve runs the tournament, so he does the testing, and sometimes it's one practice session on a pattern with a couple. They run a couple different lanes, and then sometimes it might be 2 or 3 before they get the pattern dialed in to be what he's looking for that event for that year.
Correct.
So yeah, it's a process, and like you said, you don't want to use people that, oh hey, you bowl my tournament, hey, why don't you come practice on it?
Right,
Well,
exactly.
and that's yeah. So you did a great thing. I didn't know if you'd reach out to guys maybe at Kegel and got with JJ or somebody down there to work on a pattern as well. But
No, and that was something that we were looking to do.
Yeah.
But I think with the amount of iterations that we came up with, and
Yeah.
it was starting to come together.
Yeah.
That, trust me, they were a monster fallback option.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Because the first time we did it, I was striking on it,
Okay.
and I don't even bowl.
Okay.
So I knew that was.
So
gonna
you
be,
knew you're like, okay.
that doesn't make any sense.
Okay, so this needs to change, right?
Yeah, this needs to change.
And not to cut you off here, but Wesley Lowe, we've mentioned his name here quite a few times here to start the wow, that was a pocket 6-7-10 for Brandy.
What? I didn't see it.
She left a pocket 6-7-10. So the Wesley Lowe with 166 that game.
And he's
so-
the leader.
And he was, again, depending on what Matt or I don't know how far Dahmer was back, because he's the one with strike split 5-bagger now. So yeah, we'll see how this is all shaken out. But anyway, no, it's cool to give us the insight on the pattern, and we'll let Emil know that. So while you were away, Carl asked the question about how the pattern came about, and he said here with the team at
Here at the center.
Bowlero. Was it Kyrene, right?
Yes.
That's how I say it?
Yes, sir.
Because I see the spelling in my head, but exactly what Emil said earlier. You look at something, you're like, am I going to say this right? I can see it in my head. But anyway, they worked on it a few iterations to get to the pattern to where it is. So that's how this pattern was developed and came about. And like he said, his fallback would have been to the boys at Kegel. The team there is pretty good at that as well when need be. So, but anyway, just mentioned some of the games. We got a 220. Like I said, Wesley Lowe with a 166 game, so that's going to bring him down. Depending on what the guys behind him are doing this game, it looks like
Well, Bob is going to be in the 2-0s.
okay, and then so Matthew's down in the end pair, and it looks like he's struggling with this game. He doesn't have a double. He's
No.
only got 1 strike, 2 strikes.
I think 185 is his max currently.
Yep. So, again, we're that's a pretty good pitch right there. Gonna have to string a couple to get back to a salvageable spot.
Sean Grant, the final shot. We had Chris Stinson on that pair. Alan Cudlock is also on 9 and 10. So still on the hunt for Aaron Carabell from Ramon's neck of the woods in Nashville. Speaking of players from outside of the state, got a player from Nashville on this squad.
As in like Nash Vegas. Like the hockey talk capital of the world?
Yes.
Nice.
No, as the entries come in, it does amaze me where their hometowns are or where they reside in currently. So yeah, it's been pretty cool. to see.
Nobody giving you like the wrestling style of from parts unknown.
Not yet.
No?
I'm
That's coming.
I'm waiting for your entry, Chris.
Yes. From parts unknown. He resides in a van down by the river. He's coming to attack it with house ball and house shoes. Let's go.
You know, you gotta might have a career in voice acting.
I have a face for radio.
Public address.
Thank you, everybody. Roto Schlim coming to you live from Bowlero, Kyrene, here in Phoenix, Arizona.
Face for radio.
Yep, that's it.
I will not be the judge of that.
Come on now. Be honest. Trust me, I have to look in the mirror every day.
No, you're perfect for TV.
The hair
Seriously.
is what's going on.
That's a brand.
He is absolutely branded.
It's
by his
morphed
hair.
into a
Yes.
brand because
sir.
I get stopped freaking in airports, restaurants, bar. I mean, it doesn't matter where I'm at. Like, people are like,
No, prime example.
well,
We're for the Super Bowl. So Chris is out here for the whole week for the Super Bowl. We go to the Waste Management Open
Golf tournament.
golf tournament for
Right.
2 days. We go to Shaq's Fun House and we go to Gronk's beach party. And
Yep.
this guy is an attraction all on his own.
I'm sure they thought he was someone.
Some celebrity, or at
And
least
he is someone. I don't wanna take
don't
that
get me
away
wrong.
from him.
You are a celebrity,
He's Roto Schlim.
but I mean, he famous wrestler.
oh,
He
yeah.
gets it all the
I
time.
know he
So
does.
that was,
The belt fits him perfect.
so, and you know what?
Not literally.
And that was, and so a funny spin-off
But
story of that
figuratively.
was with the first day at the golf event.
Yes.
When the guy came up and he's like, "Bro, can I get a picture with you?"
Yes.
And you're just shaking your head. And then other people, the bartender was saying there, she's like, "Am I supposed to know you? Are you like famous and stuff?" I'm like, "Yeah." But a funny story off of that too is I had that happen. So I was in Kansas City over New Year's. I was with Brett Cooper. We ended up going to the Chiefs game on New Year's Day. It was the Broncos at Chiefs, and we're at we're tailgating before Jimmy Pugh and all his crew and Abby and all them. But anyway, we're at the tailgate. People come up, "Hey, can we get a photo with you?" And all these people are like, which I'd never met before, like part of this tailgate. They're like, "Who's this guy? And why are people taking pictures with him?"
You're gonna get that here
And
all
one guy
weekend.
walked up. He goes, "Hey, will you take a picture of my kid?" So I got down on one knee, and we took a photo. Again, they don't know me from the bowling aspect. It's just that I look like a, I don't know, freak of nature, I guess, or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that's funny.
But anyway, as we're finishing up here, So what do we got going on? Dahmer in the 250s down there on 5 and 6. So that's a huge leap. We got 244 here for.
That was
remember.
Dave.
Srigliano. Okay.
Yep.
Srigliano stuck out 244.
One side note, for
Yes.
future people that are watching this right now that are coming to bowl,
Yeah.
let us know if you're over the age of 55,
Yes.
because you potentially have wood option here. So I want
Yes.
to make sure that we calculate this properly for you.
And we touch upon that as far as the couple pins help it balance out the pace in the field. And I mentioned that you and I had talked about it, and it's kind of like the deal going back to Europe, where the girls were like I said, I can't remember exactly what it is in some of those events, 6 or 7 pins or whatever it is.
Right.
But yeah, I don't foresee that being oh my gosh, it's a crazy big advantage. Yeah,
No, for
not
sure.
really.
But it was like, for example, I had Mr. Srigliano's scores were incorrect. Because
Yeah, he's
how do you ask if you're over the age of 55?
Right.
So I found out
You
that,
put it
that
politely
Dave
as-
is just a little
put
over
it politely
50.
and go, how old are you?
So Dave is a little older than 55. So based on
He
that,
has surpassed that point in his life,
yes,
so he gets pins.
He gets
That's
a few
fine.
pins.
Perfect.
And so
Rightly
that has
so.
been corrected on Tournament
And
Bowl.
tournamentbowl.com. Okay.
Yes, yes, sir.
Perfect. So yes, that's something that's it's all good. Wesley, you make ball change, make a big move. Pretty good pitch. And so he goes open. That's he converted that split. Okay. So again, Matt Zweig is going to lose some pins this game.
Yeah, he took me in the 150s.
Yeah,
He did just
never-
make a 310 to save
pick the
that.
310 to save to potentially get to that. Again, no doubles this game. And as we mentioned, Mr. Dahmer with 255. So yeah, we had 250, 240, a couple other 220, 230 games, but there was also 190s, 180s, and lower. So again, the pair-to-pair roller coaster, I think, is the best way to explain it at this point now. As we're seeing a lot of folks jumping into deeper part of the lane, a lot of folks changing balls. So yeah, we're going to see how this shakes out here at the end.
Miss Brianna Cote just joined us on the stream.
Oh, Bree.
There's another one that's going to be bowling this weekend.
Absolutely.
I don't know if you mentioned her before or not. I can't remember if he did.
Not yet.
How do you
Anyway.
miss her?
We were specifically talking about
trying to go through squads and people.
We were just talking about this afternoon's squad.
Oh, got it.
But as I was scrolling, I did see that she was scheduled to bowl, I believe, Saturday morning.
She has 8 a.m. She's going to be the early riser for our first squad on Saturday.
From understanding Bree and getting to, well, I've known her for, I guess, a long time at this point. But yeah, that's right on brand for Bree. 8 a.m. Saturday. She's going to be there, and she'll be prepared and probably toss a lot of strikes and beat a lot of people and all that stuff. And I'll also give her a shout out too, because whenever she does bowl, and if we're in the same vicinity, she's someone who will show up with a tea, coffee, whatever it is for you, and get your day started off right. So I'll give her a shout out for that. She's also the resident person who makes sure that I eat on tour as well. So
You have to have one of those?
I don't, but well, sometimes.
You just forget to eat?
And you know how
I
it
guess
is.
I don't have that problem. I'm fat. I'm like, I'm
know.
hungry. I'm going to go eat.
So you know the expectation here now that you've mentioned it with the two of us in the booth with you as well right now. So Brianna, coffee and food.
Sounds like
I mean,
donuts,
wow.
scrambled eggs. I mean, I don't know.
Well, I mean,
Bacon.
I guess it
Breakfast
depends on
buffet.
your relationship with her. We go
I'm
way
not-
back.
All good.
Well, I guess I haven't earned it yet, but hopefully down the road.
So Wesley, again, like I said, mentioned before, he made a ball change, jumped in, and now he's got 43 in the third. And again, spares are becoming a premium for some folks and some pairs. So
This small sample size here is really gets the juices, the excitement flowing, honestly. And
Oh,
we were already
absolutely.
excited, but watching this now unfold as we are into Game 6, the sixth and final game of this squad. Again, the early portion of there's a little friction out there, right? You can see that during practice, which again typically is a good thing for most players, just because they can see it. I'm not going to say they can see it clearly, but they maybe have an understanding of which lines they need to draw to get their targeting properly, to get their ball to do what they want to do. As the squad is going on, and we're seeing that that friction for some has been a detriment to a degree, because it's like, okay, well, how much do I need to move? Moving right doesn't seem to be a good idea for righties. So you keep chasing it left. I mean, I don't think we've seen any lefties in the squad. No, I'm sorry. There's at least two.
Well,
Wesley Lowe, and there's another. And so, but West high rev rate. So seeing the multiple iterations of or styles of players attack this will be interesting as the squads go on.
and that's what I'm saying too, is now we're getting to the spot where, and obviously now I'll have to pay closer attention to Matt Zweig's down here closer again. Again, he was the start of game 2 is when he went to a different ball in each lane. I don't know if he's still in that same kind of setup, but just right here in front of us, the number of folks that I've seen go to the bag and grab a ball either to end the last game or to start this game and make that big step left. But again, still seems to be some uncertainty because they don't know what the ball's going to do. So I think that's the, again, it's squad one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Day one, squad one.
The other
first
thing,
time we're
too-
seeing a pattern. So I think
right.
there's
Once
going to be a learning curve for everyone, and not only those bowling, but those watching. I mean, because obviously some of the folks here are bowling this afternoon or watching on the screen that are going to bowl this afternoon or maybe in the next day. So it gives them a better idea of what to see or expect, and then plan accordingly. Sergio Allen's got a pretty good look. And again, the shot on 10, pretty good pitch, but the weird, I can't even call it like a, I don't know, you can't even call it a flat 7. It's just like the pins, like he throws 2 or 3 pins at it and the 7th pin just stands. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a weird hit to me. I don't know the exacts of it.
Oh, Chris
gave it a run.
He did. He's off to a very good start too. Chris Stinson, 9-spirit double, and then unfortunately, but nearly made that split. Bree says she might have some coffee for you if you send the order. So that's all up to Carl and Schlim to get their orders in.
Oh, I'm just kidding, Brianna. Just get
No,
down
we're
here
just
safe.
kidding. Are you going to address that in the chat?
Yeah,
Or do
you
we
know,
need to?
not on your life.
Yeah,
is
it's a great
asked,
question. There's only one person that can answer it.
It's a fair question. Okay, I'll bite. What's an Agent Ong? So my name is Carl Ong. I'm the creator of this event, and I actually have a real estate team named the Agent Ong team out here in Phoenix. And we're the title sponsor and creator of the tournament. It is named after our team. And so I'm a real estate agent, hence the name Agent, and my last name is Ong. So in simplest forms, Agent Ong is a representation of myself and my wife and the rest of the team.
Your real estate team. Yeah.
Yes.
And it's cool if you look at the logo, the AO, so it looks like a little house with a little smokestack up off the top of the A. So, yeah, that's where Carl just showed me that, and I said, and I wanted to jump on it, and I'm like, we'll let him answer that.
I was going to set him up nicely. For,
all right, you're going to tee him up? All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, all good. But no, seriously, I mean, folks, it's a
good question.
And this is one
honestly.
of,
Good
and again,
question. And it helps, obviously, bring more attention. And hey, if you need a house,
if you're in this
the
market,
guy runs a tournament, he creates things,
and that goes beyond that, folks. That's only one of his companies. He's not telling you about the travel agency or the print company or whatever you need here in Arizona. Carl either is the guy or knows the guy. So
I appreciate the kind words.
Mr. Ong is the man.
No, Mandy says that Dave Srigliano is the man, and I agree.
Oh, absolutely. We're
and
not going to argue that.
It's his birthday?
No. Is it really? Right now?
Oh.
Dave.
He
that would make
just
sense.
turned 58.
That would make
then.
sense to your earlier point.
Okay. Well, grab his attention so we can say happy birthday.
Dave.
Well, he might be in the groove.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he is.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
Fair
he's
enough.
Mandy will have to get back to that. He's
Yeah.
he's right here in front of us, but he's like super focus mode. Yeah, so we'll have to sing him happy birthday.
Yes, well, I'll have to get him like a cupcake or something.
Ooh, there you go.
We'll figure something out for that.
Perfect.
And he's also one of our sponsors, by the way. So
Yes.
give a shout out to Dave Srigliano and Bowling Dynamics.
Bowling Dynamics, actually, with a location here inside Bowlero, Kyrene. So if you're in this neck of the woods and you need some bowling ball, you need equipment or service, him and his guys are glad to help you out.
Yep.
Dave's been in the business a long time. Great pro shop operator. And
Class act.
absolutely.
Absolutely nice gentleman. And then, and one of my best friends, Mr. Andrew Kane. It's also his birthday today.
Get out.
Former
Really?
roommates
Is Andrew
of
gonna bowl?
mine. Yeah. Oh, he's on his way. He'll be here at 2 o'clock.
Andrew Kane.
Black
bowling.
Cloud.
Oh, see, I told you.
What happened?
I have now
Stone 8, Dave.
I have now stepped into the role of Del Ballard. Del has gifted his ability to black cloud people to me, some way, somehow.
So you
Like-
threw the dart by accident.
Bro, how many times already this morning?
It's been a few.
Really?
Yeah, and I'm-
See, I just jump in and out of here, so I don't. Maybe I'm missing some stuff.
And I gotta be honest too. Again, this is like the second time in 3 weeks Chris and I have been together, and so I've been able to kind of relinquish myself from the Black Cloud situation because he's been here to take
he's-
over.
gladly
he's taking the
absorb-
moniker
I've
now?
absorbed all of it.
Yes.
But that was a great shot, and on a ball change. So yeah, it's one of those things of I think it's he's got a good line to the pocket and just kind of trying to find that ball to carry to do the right thing. But again, as we're looking across, like down on 3 and 4, start with we don't know who A is down there, but 3-bagger spare strike. So that's a good start. Dahmer, I believe. Yep, that's Mr. Dahmer again.
That's the last 2 games. Well, I should say the
Yep.
previous game 250 plus, and now the start
Yep.
of this game.
And so, but you're looking at some of these other pairs and scoring wise, like over here in 13 to 14, spare double, and spare strike, 3 spares in a row. So, yeah, clean games. That's a pretty good pitch. And so he carried that one. So, but yeah. So again, folks, it's the game 6. We're seeing the change balls, kind of move zones, maybe some tricks with that off the hand to make the ball try and do the right thing. And definitely some bowlers. You're seeing the frustration. They're trying to figure it out, but they're not going to let it defeat them. They're going to, they're going to come back and bowl either the next squad or maybe bowl the sweeper tonight and then bowl sometime in the next couple days.
Dave bowled Cactus Classic, and but I first saw him bowl years back. My first job in the industry was at the Open Championships, and I forgot what the current number is, but it's a very small group of people who have, I think, at least 300 games at the Open Championships, of which Dave is one of those
them.
people.
Yeah, I would say that's got to be an elite group.
It's got to be a short list for sure.
Jake, you are completely right. It's crazy how many times you watch that happen like live, and then how many times it happens to you or us as the player when you ball change, throw a great shot like Dave did, Stone 8,
Oh, absolutely.
Stone 9, next one obviously flush.
Yeah, and you know, and it's one of those things, again, you can't, there's no right or wrong answer to it. It's the fact of, you know, in his head, you know, that was the right ball choice. And it is, based on what he was throwing that reality before. Now he goes to an exotic gym. So just a little bit cleaner cover, a little bit more responsive. But that same, you know, and that right there, again.
That's in play, folks.
I'll take, yeah, and it is. And that comes back to how the squad started. It comes back to the, like we talked about with surface, there's in that little zone, that little tube that developed. But yeah, if you miss it, I mean, even like we just talked about, as great a bowler, you know, limited 300s at the Open Championship. His credentials there's a long list of them.
He's a Hall of Famer.
A Hall of Famer, you know, you're going to have those shots, you know, so there's still shot making involved. And it wasn't that he missed by much, but he missed by just enough. And yeah, I mean, that comes out of nowhere. But again, still potential of, you know, 192-0, which again isn't terrible based on what we're watching with all the other scores coming across, you know, this squad. So, and do we have and probably we do have a little bit of time to talk because we're still got some frames, Carl. How do we want to explain the process of making it to the finals?
Sure.
You know, how many people are coming off? Is it per squad? Is it for the day? Is it you know?
It's actually the entire event. So
Okay.
we have.
So this
we'll
is a
have
beat the boards kind of
yes,
thing, right?
absolutely.
Okay.
We'll have a projected after every squad based on the amount of entries we had the previous squad.
Okay.
So we will not have an official cut score until after the 6 p.m. squad on Saturday night.
Okay.
At that point, you will have the determination of whether you're going to continue with one last opportunity for the Desperado squad. There is a caveat to being able to qualify for that is bowling. You had to have bowled 2 main event squads to be able to be eligible to bowl the Desperado squad.
Gotcha.
But yes, I believe so. Saturday night, I think there'll be a lot of people hanging out that night just to kind of see if they're on the bubble.
See where they're on the bubble. Correct.
And then make a decision. If you think you're in the number after, you know, right before the 6 o'clock squad on Saturday, do you re-enter or do you wait
Gotcha.
and see if your score gets leapfrogged or gets through?
Right. So, and like I said, I just wanted to reiterate that. Obviously, Emil brought it up with when you're seeing on the, you know, the red line is irrelevant when you're looking at the scores.
Right.
Again, we're not going to have definitive until Saturday evening.
Right.
So as he's got them popped up here in the corner, and speaking of, I mean, we're looking at you know, Wesley. You know, Wesley was currently sitting in third. Well, he's looking at. We'll see what this shot is. He got a lucky break to catch that double, and
He's going to get the 2-0.
He's going to get the 2-0. So he's going to hang into that plus 50 zone. But again, I mean, we got some pretty good bowlers here this morning on this squad, and yeah, the pace is nothing. You know, it's a pretty good pitch right there. You know, it was just you know, and he knows it now. Obviously, Dave's, you know, he saw it as soon as he spun around. He's like, yep, that's what I was supposed to do. But yeah, 193 was actually not a terrible game. You know, it was pretty good.
And the leader after 5, great ball change.
Yep, absolutely.
And that's the thing I was trying to say was whether it's about what I was hoping this pattern would do is make it playable, challenging, but at the same time, if you miss, sometimes you're at full penalty.
Absolutely,
You know,
yeah,
and
and I think
it's
that's
showing
the
that
deal of-
today, this morning at least.
And we're going to see it more as we get more people on the lanes, as the patterns strip and ran a few more times. Because again, it's going to get into the amount of surface. And like I said, the thing this morning was, some of these, the one, I think it was 11 and 12 here. I think that's where Matt Zweig started. Man, they had a whole pile of Aberlon. It was like every flavor. I mean, it was like 15 different pads laying there. And they were hitting different balls, doing this and doing that. Well, that's only on that pair. The pair right next door, people are using solid ball balls, and I think one person sanded their ball. So you have that variable. These other variables, the unspoken variables, if you will, of what you're trying to see on that pair. But again, every pair is going to be different. And then as you make the moves across the house, the left, like we said before, those on the left lane are moving left, those on the right lane are moving right. So who's on what pair, who's throwing what ball, who's using what surface, rev rates and all the fun stuff.
I'm going to answer Jason's question in the chat really quick. How many will move on Sunday? It's a 1 in 5 cut. So, depending on how many total entries we get, that will determine how many move on to Sunday's finals.
Good point there. Let me make sure I write that down. Because there is not a set number.
No.
To that degree, so I don't want to say.
Yeah, it's
the
hard
wrong things
because there is
throughout.
no definitive set number of entries currently. As we've been talking all morning with the number of walk-ins and people that are, Carl's getting random texts or messages of, "Hey, yeah, I'm going to show up.
I'm on my way."
I'm on my way. Or people are just going to randomly just pop in, both local and from distance that are, hey, they show up and you go, "Oh, I didn't expect to see you
A couple
here."
people need passports, so that's a good thing.
Yeah.
But
How about that?
the only definitive number is after the cashers round. We go straight to 24. So on Sunday,
the final or for match play, that's
the number. So
Keep forgetting about the cashers round.
Yeah, cashers round is wide open. So all the qualifiers come back Sunday morning. We bowl another additional 4 games. Pins do not carry over from your cut. It's a blind scratch start over, and then you bowl 4 games. We cut straight to 24. At that point, the top 8 get a bye. So seeds 9 through 24 will be bracketed, and a best 2 out of 3 matches. So if you sweep your opponent, you will then be able to take a mini break should we have any 3-game matches. And then we bring back the top 8 to take on the winners of the first round of 8 for another round of 16, in theory. There we go, 16, 16, 8, and then we cut to the top 4 championship step ladder. And then we crown a winner.
I like it. This will be fun to watch it all play out. That cashers round sprint will be fun.
4 games. Yes, sir.
That will be fun. Chris Mays. Man, he throws good. Have you seen he and his brother bowl before? Hunter? Hunter might get a little bit more on it than Chris. Maybe.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a good question from Jason. If you see that in the chat.
Let me see.
Can you bowl the sweeper without bowling the event? I'm pretty sure you can.
Yes, you can.
It's not like the Desperado where you have to have a certain
That is
or
correct.
a minimum of 2 qualifying squads. Is that correct?
Yes, and that's one of the things that I've been telling people over the last few months is if you're not bowling this morning, the best opportunity to take a sneak peek at this pattern is to come out for $100. It's a mini tournament. It's a standalone event. It's just a 3-game sweeper, beat the board. It's a 1 in 6 cash ratio. I'm guaranteeing $1,500 on top, regardless of entries. And it's a way to kind of, like Chris said earlier, is a way to kind of sink your teeth into the pattern and get a little bit of a sneak peek for the rest of the weekend. If you come back on Friday or Saturday, it's definitely a great way to just get a little bit of practice. And based on Jason says, he's on his way. So, yeah.
Well,
like
he
I said,
better be on his way.
Well, he should be bowling for sure.
This guy shot 300 when no one else was even
Had a
thinking about
sniff.
shooting 300
Yeah,
at the Cactus
at one
Classic.
point. Yeah, absolutely.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I mean, and not only did he shoot 300, he was, I forgot what his number was, but he was minus 80, 90 something. and shot 300 to make the cut.
Nice.
When there was no 300 look.
There was no 300s available to be seen or.
Cool. Well, speaking of that, that's another name to bring up is Robbie Patterson. You know, last squad, he leads the tournament. You know, at the end of it, he bowled didn't he bowl the very last squad at the Cactus? And then
I believe so.
Then leapfrog
Yes.
Fitzgerald for the top spot.
I think so.
Yeah. So, man, there's a lot of great bowlers out here in the Phoenix area.
Yes, sir.
Speaking of that, folks, 208 from Mike Powell, and that's going to do it. Official, unofficial.
Got Matt over here. Still got to finish.
Mr. Zweig. Let's put him on camera. Do me a favor.
Yep.
See that bottom string right here.
Yep.
Give that a okay, and then give it a pan. Perfect. Thank you.
Good.
Perfect.
Come back in to focus there. All right. Sorry, folks. Roto Schlem here, learning how to adjust cameras on the fly. I'm going to add that to my resume. Pretty good pitch right there. And again, talking to himself, I think there was a couple ball changes that game. And again, it's just what pairs you catch at what time and how they're
back-to-back 150s, unfortunately.
Yep, how they're playing at that moment in time.
Before we wrap this squad up officially, there was briefly touch on the thing we hit on, which was the consistent applying of the pattern, right? And typically how patterns play truer and truer each time they're laid out. So what we've seen this morning may not be tomorrow morning's opening squad.
Well, and that's the whole thing of it. You think about it. So this afternoon at 2 o'clock, we've got the next shift. So we're going to have a strip and re-oil. So it's going to be, the memory is going to start getting cleaned off. We're going to have this pattern laid for the second time. And then by the time we get to the sweeper tonight, that'll be the third time.
Sweeper could be hard tonight.
Well, it's not even that. Come tomorrow morning. I mean, even this afternoon squad. Come tomorrow morning with more strip and re-oils. We thought it looked tough now. It may get tougher come tomorrow. And it could be that we see some other random angles of attack where everybody was kind of in that zone using surface, kind of playing, that 15 to
that's a good question.
15 to 10 spot, and some people trying to play out, like Matt started out trying to play the gutter. And maybe that's not a thing. Maybe it is a thing. We just got to wait and see how it all unravels. So
I want to thank you, thank all of our sponsors here. Certainly Carl and Kathy Ong, Team Agent Ong, Create Proof Print, Unwind Wellness Redefined, WeSpeakWifi.com. My specific thanks to them because they are providing some internets for us here, so we appreciate them. Travel 24/7, Brightside Catering, very good food. Thanks again to Carl and Kathy. Mark Powell, Bell Bank, I Am Bowling, EFB, we mentioned Bowling Dynamics, Ramsey Auto Group, Burke Brothers, and Angela, is it Zybert? Zeberts,
yes.
Thank you. Swim instructor. I was going to ask you about that. Only because I got young kids. We're about to take them back to or find the swimming school and all that kind of stuff.
She does it for infants. So it's absolutely amazing what she does. Gosh, I couldn't speak on the age, but I would say under a year old even.
That's impressive.
It's become more of a thing.
They learn how to teach the babies to turn onto their back if they should fall into a pool of water.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. So
Good
absolutely
deal.
amazing.
That's good stuff. Well, folks, we appreciate you. That's going to do it for Squad 1 officially. Before we go, I do want to bring opportunity just to see everybody on screen momentarily. Emil Williams Jr., Chris Schlemmer, Roto Schlem, and of course the creator, if you will, the man responsible for all of this, Carl Ong. Thank you again, Carl. Before we do go, your kind of final thoughts on the tournament officially now beginning and what you saw from this squad in that lane pattern.
Oh, I just think that it's actually amazing. Just to see it come together with just a thought in my head and not being able to put anything into reality in regards to like being able to physically see it. But now that it's floored, we have one squad under our belts. I think everything went smoothly. You guys did an amazing job in the booth, and we'll continue to have more guests. You know, you don't have to hear from me anymore.
Or me. I'm like I said, I'm a stunt double in this whole shindig. So,
But no, thank you to all the bowlers that came out for the first squad. I'm sure we'll see a lot of them again the rest of the weekend. And on to squad number 2.
That's right. Squad 2 will begin at 2 p.m. local time.
ooh, that means we can get food.
Yep,
Yes,
2
we have a
p.m.
little bit of a
local
break for
to
everybody.
Phoenix. That is 5 p.m. Eastern. So 5 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Central, 3 p.m. Mountain, 2 p.m. local here in Arizona. Don't forget, tournament results can be found on tournamentbowl.com. If you're still watching, make sure you click the link where it says scores at the top of the Bowlstream TV chat. So, again, for all of our sponsors, thank you again. We will see you in just a few hours. Squad 2 coming up for Chris Roto Schlimmer. Carl
that's
on,
fine. That was a lot.
Kathy
That was a
on.
mouthful.
That
Yeah,
was.
that was awesome.
Happy birthday to Dave Sirigliano. My name is Emil Williams Jr. We'll see you in a couple hours. And watching Squad 1 of the Agent On Open right here on Bowlstream TV.